lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and they get.
He missed the complete. That is crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield before. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
If you build it, they will come. The Field of Dreams may have been a diamond of dirt in a cornfield, but tonight we deal with a circle of dirt, and many have come out to play in it. Eldora has long held one of the most prestigious dirt late model races in the nation, and tonight we'll witness the virtual rendition of that. You're watching the Dirt Late Model Dream presented by Agent Tux, round 9 of the Pacific Majors, and you'll see it all live on the Global SimRacing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth tonight are Bill Soupzon and Justin Prince. Behind the scenes is our director, the Dr. Amjad Yaman, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Justin, this place has certainly had a renaissance since it changed hands to the likes of Tony Stewart. Tell us a little bit about this great facility.
Thank you very much, Joe. This facility opened in 1955 and was opened up by Earl Bolt, who was a local band leader who had no previous racing experience before opening this facility. By 1958, we've seen our current rendition of the track. Tony Stewart went on to purchase the track in 2004 when he retired, and now this half-mile clay track hosts events such as the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, as well as many crown jewels started by Bolts, such as the King's Royal, as well as the Dirt Late Model Dream in real life. Now, Eldora features great racing on its 24-degree bankings, as well as 8 degrees on the straights. And it's going to be a wild race for sure. Races, I should say, for sure in our heats. And to help explain more, let's go to your GSRC lap guide.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Global SimRacing channel. I'm Brian Yazdick, taking you for a spin around the Eldora Speedway in the GSRC Dirt Super Late Mod. Without further ado, here we go. You're going to see guys all over this half-mile speedway, and it's all in the name of chasing the cushion. The cushion is the almighty holy grail of dirt racing. You are going to see guys move all around this facility throughout the event. High, low, middle. You're going to see, like right here, it might be better that lap to come off the bottom, but then going on here in turn 1, you might want to run this high groove. Let the car slide out just a little bit. Put the power down. You're very rarely full back into the throttle like you would be in an oval car on asphalt or even a road car. You're floating between half and about 85% throttle. So you see here, in 1 and 2, letting it slide out again, trying to get a run. You can imagine somebody up there that you're trying to get a run on. Get through here into turn 3, up, trying to find the cushion, trying to find the grip. Let this thing slide around, come off of 4, and across the line. And that's going to complete our track guide here around Eldora Speedway. I'm Brian Yazdick. Enjoy the show.
So very quick laps around here. Of course, that was the super late model that our lap guide was in. Today, they will be racing the pro late model. The only main difference that you experience between those two cars is this pro late model has a little bit less horsepower out there. As we watch them continue to warm up, let's familiarize our viewers with what this format is going to be like now. They're going to do it much like they do in real life. They're heat races. It's essentially a tournament. 5 heat races. The top 5 finishers in each heat race will go on to the A main. The drivers that do not finish within the top 5 will be slotted down into the last chance qualifier race, which will happen right before the main races. The top 3 drivers into that last chance qualifier will advance into the A main. Now, we will also have a B main, which will take place at the exact same time as our A main, except our friends over at Off Camber TV will be broadcasting that. So if you have friends or family over racing in the B main, that's where you can go to witness that. But we hope you join us for the A main after these 5 heat races and last chance qualifier that we're going to be covering today. Just about 30 seconds left, and we're getting ready for our first one, which will be 20 laps, Bill. Going to be quick races for these short little heats.
But there are caution flags, so they're on a tight schedule here with about 15 minutes between these heats, so they've got to get them in and out. But yeah, we expect it to be very, very exciting here today. 5 carryover, and then of course the last chance qualifier that Joe just talked about. And the track conditions will be the same for each of the heats because they're not able to carry that over from heat to heat. But we'll see how it plays out it's nighttime, so maybe that'll keep the track a little bit cooler.
Certainly, and as you said, they will send the virtual water trucks out at the start of each race to refresh the track. And
11 drivers in this first heat. In fact, pretty much this is the biggest one, 10 drivers in all the other ones.
Indeed. So let's go through our starting order for this heat. It'll be Garrett Hulsey starting on the front row with Trevor Vrosky, Bill, starting on the outside of row 1.
Brian Grandin and Rob Gall in row 2, Justin.
And row number 3, it'll be Dee Palmer starting alongside Jared Morgan.
In 7th place, it'll be Ernie Ludwig, followed by Mark McFadden in 8th.
Stephen Paulson and Steph Alberts in 9th and 10th.
And then rounding out the field will be Josh Gardner, last in the 5.55. The pace truck is going to lead them away once we get everybody gridded up. And Justin, this will be interesting since we've got a mix of experience, as we always do in the Pacific Majors. Not all of these drivers necessarily have done a lot of dirt racing.
Yeah, we have a good mix of drivers between cars and drivers that have not as much experience, as you said, on dirt, to people who are, in some cases, fairly well known in all facets of iRacing. Like Mark McFadden, for example, is someone I've raced with a few times on the iRacing NIS side. So we got a few different cars here who are mixed in different skill levels and whatnot. So it's going to be interesting to see how each of them compete against each other in this 20-lap heat.
And you can see we don't do it halfway here at Eldora as they set off the fireworks and pyrotechnics for the pace lap. We should have more of them come the end of the race. A few of the drivers, I guess, have not raced here at Eldora before, weren't aware that iRacing mimicked that and got caught by surprise. So as they complete their first pace lap, they're going to do 2 around, and then we go racing here for 20 laps. As Bill said, cautions are on, and this will determine the top 5 finishers will go in to our final race of the night.
Keep an eye on the number 30 car. That's Trevor Vrosky. He sits 5th in the championship points right now. We've seen him do lots of ovals. Don't know how he does on the dirt, though.
We've seen him do both ovals and road, too. Yep. I would not doubt that his skills translate over here to the unpaved side of racing. Just seems to be fast in whatever machinery you put him in. But Garrett Hulsey is going to start them off as the pace truck comes around turn 4, peels off into pit lane. Green flag is out as Hulsey gets a good jump over Vrosky. Drivers finding their lines, finding their feet. If anything, as a few cars slamming up into the wall on the outside, but able to continue on.
That was Ernie Ludwig.
And it's going to be interesting seeing how this track evolves in such a short race, Justin, with dirt, even in iRacing in the virtual world, changing with each lap.
Yeah, it does, because you're going to see a lot of drivers trying to work in different groups. You're seeing cars on the bottom, most of them on the high side, so the more they drive on it, the more it's going to dry out this clay surface. So it's going to take a while for it to dry in and cushion. And you can see right now drivers are trying to work that in. And it's still going to take some time, of course. If you're not used to that, of course, it's still a very wet track.
And right now it's Jared Morgan in the transfer spot in 5th. He's got a nice lead over Ernie Ludwig.
He's going to want to feel more comfortable than that as he closes up on the back of Rob Gall, trying to see if he can gain on him. Doesn't get the run off the corner. It looks like most of our leaders, though, Bill, are trying to work that low line on this fresh dirt.
Right now, and the guy who really has the best of it is Garrett Hulsey. Now, I'm going to assume that their finished position in this heat is going to determine where they grid up for the main event. So every position is important here.
Yes, it will determine where it slots you in. Now, I need to look into that information to give you exactly where it'll put them, but wow, Garrett Hulsey just hugging that inside concrete.
Yeah, there's a reason he got the top qualifying time for today's event. And he is just nailing it in. He had more than 300 laps of practice on top of this for tonight. And that was very close. He almost hit a car going to the pits.
That was Seth Alberts trying to work his way in there. Thankfully, that didn't set off a caution, and he's able to get in. We do not expect pit stops in these races, so Seth is severely compromised and definitely not going to be continuing on into the A main.
Stephen Paulson back in 9th. A top-notch driver, really struggling right now. Having a hard time keeping the car sideways. In fact, he slams it in the wall one more time.
We keeping our eyes on Jared Morgan in that bubble spot that Bill mentioned. He stretched it ahead of Ernie Ludwig at about 0.8 of a second.
Yeah,
Pretty much. Go ahead, Justin.
Sorry about that, but he's pretty much, like you were trying to, I believe, say, pretty much hitting his line correctly, really. Using that bottom groove and slipping up to the high side, really, and making it work. He was doing the same thing in practice. The main concern I have is setup-wise, because he actually ran out of gas with his original setup at 28 laps. Not a good situation. Of course, it's a 20-lap 20-lap heat, I should say. So you have to wonder, did he adjust the fuel, and did he adjust it properly, I should say?
Big mover is D. Palmer, qualified 5th, up 2 spots to 3rd.
In fact, he's already looking on Trevor Vrosky, starting to close in on that number 30. You can see the cushion starting to form even in these few laps, only 12 in so far.
Yeah, this heat is just absolutely flying by, and mostly everyone is now to the bottom. We've seen at the start that half the field went to the high side, but it looks like our leader had a little bit of difficulty coming out of 4th that time, but is still able to keep the lead as the cushion is starting to affect him.
And Trevor Vrosky is still riding that very low line while up above. D. Palmer is trying to see if he can get the shot off the corner. He's running out of laps to do it, only 6 to go, but he is finding some grip. Right up behind him. I'm seeing a little connection problems from D. Palmer on my end. I don't know about you guys. That can be disconcerting.
Yes, that is concerning. At 66 quality for his internet, and is now up to the high groove where it is very wet still. So on top of that, those connection issues, it's going to affect him big time with his handling, because he's not going to know where the cars are really if he's blinking as he is right now with a few laps to go.
Good news, he only has to hang on for 3 more laps, then he can sign back out and shine back in, hopefully get a good run.
Meanwhile, did we just have a pass for our 5th position, or no, this is...
No, here he comes. This is Ludwig making a move. In fact, he's going to take it up high. And now he's going to dive it down underneath. I like the run he's got, Joe. Oh, he touches him.
Together. That ruins his momentum. Ernie cannot do anything with it. 2 laps to go, 1 lap to go as Garrett Holsey takes the white flag, and he's got a car turned around in front of him, and he runs into him! Sends him into the air. That's going to hand over the lead to Trevor Vrosky on the final lap. Vrosky comes around to win Heat 1.
And Halsey gets into Ludwig as Ludwig comes around. Ludwig's trying to limp that car around. I think he's going to get 3rd.
And
5th,
Halsey is going to come home in 8th, which means he is going to have to go through the last chance qualifier to get to the A main.
And an 8th place finish means he's not going to get a great grid spot there either. He's going to have to really work. What do you know?
We're going to watch the replay here. It just came around the corner, and Justin, he had nowhere to go. It was right within his line.
Yeah, he had no idea that he was there, really. Coming out of the corner, then it's like, oh shoot, there's a car in the main driving line. So that is probably the worst situation you can possibly have. Like, Steven Paulson basically had no time to even move as he went flying into the air there. So a bad situation at the wrong time on the last lap.
So your finishing order: Vrosky wins, Palmer 2nd, Gall 3rd, Morgan 4th, and Ernie Ludwig is going to be able to advance in that 5th position. Mark McFadden just outside of it in 6th. Brian Grandin, Garrett Holsey, Josh Gardner 7th, 8th, and 9th. Stephen Paulson 10th, and Seth Alberts 11th. All those drivers, those 6 drivers at the end, are going to have to go to the last chance qualifier if they want to stay out of the B main. It'd be such a shame if Holsey, after his great qualifying lap, doesn't make it into the finale.
Yeah, because he was having the perfect race until that. Really, for his heat run, it was just a matter of bad luck with how things turned out. I still feel he can do a good job in the qualifier, in the LCQ, but we're gonna have to see, because of course, like you said, he's gonna have a lot of competition with 4 more heats to go still.
Well, with that said, we've got a little bit of time before we get our next heat started in just a few minutes. So, Bill, I believe we have our points championship for the Pacific Majors to go over. Are we starting with the Mario Andretti's Drivers' Championship?
Let's go ahead and do the Mario Andretti's Driver Championship. You have up there Blake Reynolds. Boy, he has been tough. The Texas driver out in front right now, 1,129 points, and he's got 3 wins so far this season. Right behind him, the California driver, winless so far, Lionel Callisto, 27 points back. 82 back, Brian Bennett. He's been very good as well for Alliance Racing. Joshua Wolf, look at this. Now, the 2 drivers from, we know him from the We Stand United, the WSU that Sean and I used to cover. They've come over here, and we're talking about the Grizzly drivers, Joshua Wolf and Trevor Borowski. Look at that. Borowski wins this heat. He goes on. We're going to look for him in the main event. Joshua Wolf in 4th, Trevor Borowski in 5th.
And we're getting ready to get the cars up and together here soon for this second heat. Justin, if you were a driver racing in the second heat, watching that first heat, what did you take out of it? What did you learn from that?
What I really learned from that is basically just work your way to the bottom once again, because drivers, as the race went on for the heat, the high side, or the high line I should say, just dried up way too quickly compared to the bottom. Drivers were able to make some runs on the bottom and keep positions by doing that. So just work your way to the bottom and just patiently do it, because it is going to take precision to make some of these passes, as we had a couple cars, of course, bumping and banging a little bit in those couple of final laps of the heat. You don't want to rise up into another car or damage both of your cars.
Yeah, I would certainly think that keeping it clean would be essential to finishing in the top 5, which is going to be difficult in these machines, as we see Nick Kuhn working his way around in the Crackle Barrel 219. Just getting his car warmed up, getting used to the track. Thomas Lovelady as well, winner of our first round at the Snowball Derby when they went and visited Florida for the Five Flags Speedway opener of this season.
Seems like a long time ago, and we had such big hopes for Lovelady. He hasn't really come on as strong as we saw in that opening round.
Well, it was quite a while ago. It was half a year ago here now, Bill, that this season goes on for nearly the entire year for the Pacific Majors. They cover, if you're new to this series, they cover most of the major races in the world and mimic them here on iRacing to as close to the full length as they can. Obviously, the 24-hour races they can't do as close as they'd like, but still, last round we saw 4 hours at Le Mans, which was a long, long race. Definitely tested a few drivers. We heard some saying that, you know, they needed to take a little bit of a break, a bit of a, as Sean would say, a bio break during their pit stops.
That was a long one for them. That was 4. They were 4 hours sitting that one. You know, this is brand new. We don't know any of these drivers on dirt. Lionel Callisto is in here. I know what he can do on the road. I know what he can do on an oval. I would not be surprised to see him very, very tough. He's qualified 2nd right now.
I would agree on that. Michael Thompson, part of the Elite West team. They're teams that they have in this series, basically a loose collection of drivers who are mostly friends and acquaintances. There's not really money necessarily in it, but they do share setups, they do share practice, knowledge to one another, and that can make some of these teams a force to be reckoned with, much like you would have with a Ferrari or a Penske.
Only 9 drivers entered in here so far. We're waiting to see if Chris Pence comes in and fills up that 10th spot. He was the slowest qualifier.
And he doesn't have a lot of time either. There's still just about a minute and 30 seconds for him to prepare to get on the grid, basically. And it's still going to be a fairly competitive split, really, or heat, I should say. Trevor Clement and Lionel Callisto, both of them are already in the 15 flats, just warming up here, preparing for this heat.
Another big name, Michael Thompson. He sits 6th in the points right now. He's going to go off in 5th position, out inside of row 3, in the transfer position if he can hold station.
So we watch warm up with its 1 minute left to go. Justin, one thing that's going to make a difference is your equipment that you're working with in the real world, because these cars are so sideways. Visibility, it can be a bit of a problem depending on what kind of setup that you've got.
Yeah, exactly, because if you have just one monitor, you don't know if you're going to be sliding up into a car right beside you or bumping into somebody. So if you have triple monitors, for example, you're able to see around like that, what you have to for the dirt side, as well as with VR. So if you're a single screen driver, it may not affect you as much on the oval and road sides, but if you're on the dirt side, it's going to really make or break you, really, because you do not know unless you're constantly looking around and pressing your look left, look right button.
Yeah, who can
where
do that?
everyone is. Exactly.
Joe, can you do that? That's a sure recipe for me to turn into the wall if I do one of those right or left.
My time running dirt, I've learned to kind of glance every little bit, but yeah, I can't do it often. I'm running on a single monitor as well. It's very tough. You just kind of have to give people a bit of a berth. So let's go through our grid order. Michael Thompson is going to be starting, Trevor Clement will be starting on the pole. With the outside of row 1, going to be Lionel Callisto. Bill?
Our opening round winner, Thomas Lovelady, in there inside of row 2, inside of Nick Kuhn.
Michael Thompson starts off on the inside of row 3, alongside Aaron Stowe.
Then you've got Jimbo Pfeiffer starting in 7th in row 4, followed by Mark Lossing. Gary Nichols is going to round out our field in 9th, as we did not get our last driver in there for today. And as they grid up, we're going to get a bit of those fireworks. Hopefully they're not blowing things out. I'm not sure if our directors managed to turn the volume down last time well enough. I know those pyrotechnics can be a little loud, Bill.
Absolutely. And we have a couple. We'll talk about the sportsman standings here in a little while. Up there they go. Trevor Clement is leading the sportsman division, and Aaron Stowe sitting in 4th position.
And I thought we were going to get fireworks. Well, I see.
They're going.
Okay, so apparently I triggered something on my sim that I managed to skip them somehow. I was surprised for a second, but I can see them on screen now.
Can you show me that button? Because, man, they are loud in my earphones.
I'll tell you the secret. I paused it, and then I fast-forwarded to present, I guess after they started. So there you go, if you want to skip them. But in any case, we don't want our viewers to get to miss out on the beautiful and very loud pyrotechnics here at Eldora Speedway as we start warm-up lap 2.
I'm going to do oohs and ahs next time, so don't ask me to commentate. You just
okay.
I'll let you. Next time they come around.
I'll let you come in with those.
I like Callisto in this, outside of row 1 as the favorite. Keep an idea on Lovelady, though. Don't know what he's up to. Trevor Clement on pole.
I agree. Callisto has always struck me as a very adaptable driver. And one thing you need to be on dirt, Justin, is adaptable. But as the pace truck peels off into the pit lane entry, taking off, Trevor Clement leads the field with a good jump ahead of Lionel Callisto as they all send it down into turn 1. Drivers finding themselves some space, mostly single file at this point as we got a car in the wall in the back. That is Aaron Stowe slipping backwards.
And Stowe also bringing their car into the wall with them. That was Gary Nichols being bumped into the wall in 3. So a little rough start, a little bit of fireworks to go along with the fireworks show at the start, but clean nonetheless.
A lot closer racing in the mid-pack than we saw in the last one. Nick Kuhn was under threat from Michael Thompson, who's sitting in that transfer spot. He's trying to get away from Jimbo Pfeiffer. And boy, you talk about a mix of worlds, Sean. Jimbo's running his golf scheme that he usually does on a dirt late model.
That's not right.
Well, Pfeiffer, the double aught, is being chased by the double 9 as he tries to work his way up, and Stowe almost slips into the wall once again, coming out of 2 and loses ground.
Thompson, comfortable in that transfer spot, has almost a second over Jimbo Pfeiffer.
The top 5, really, who are closest amongst each other. Nick Kuhn has Michael Thompson, you said, with a comfortable gap behind him, really able to look forward to try and do what he can to be aggressive on the number 219.
The only guy to actually make a pass, Pfeiffer, started gridded in 7th, is up to 6th position. Everybody else racing in the order that they gridded in.
It looked like for a moment that Clement might be caught by Callisto, but he's dropped back to nearly a second behind our number 111. The real battle is still for this 3rd through 5th place. Lovelady, Kuhn, Thompson, all fighting hard.
And a little bit of different lines, really, to start off compared to our first heat. A lot of drivers using the middle lane, really, more than the bottom or the top exclusively, as much as they were in the first heat.
Oh,
And
we
caution
got a
flag.
caution. Pfeiffer. Looks like he got in it with Aaron Stowe. Let's see if we can
And
find the replay.
And Mark Lossing is going to take a loss as he clips him going by in the 743 machine at the very end.
Looks like Jimbo got a little bit of help around from Aaron Stowe. That sent the car the wrong direction.
Stowe was really struggling out there. He had dropped several positions. He just wasn't comfortable.
Yeah, he just kept bouncing off the wall, really. With it comes to Eldora, and for dirt racing in general, it's about throttle control and brake control. And it seems he's gutting it a little bit out of the corners too much, leading to those difficulties that we're seeing already from him. Because other than that, his line's okay until the exit point when he's getting too fast on the gas, it seems.
Yeah, totally different from the first heat, which was really, this not going to make a lot of sense, but when I say it was quiet, from a commentator, we didn't hear a lot of banging off the wall. This heat is constant bang, 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 4, 5, 6 times a lap almost.
And
Really
you
loud
can
noise.
get away with that a little bit, I'd say, Justin. These cars are made to take some punishment, but you don't want to do it too much, I think.
Yeah, you can't get away, like you said, you can get away with it a little bit, but if you get too much damage, it's going to hurt your handling. It's going to end up affecting the axles, as Aaron Stowe does get a black flag. In fact, it seems for the cause of the caution or for bumping into Jimbo Pfeiffer. So, but with that, as I was trying to say, he had some issues. Green flag is about to come back.
Green flag is, in fact, out as Trevor Clement leads them away. Aaron Stowe sends into the pits. And that is going to hurt his chances of wanting to get up. And who was that? That was Lovelady up into the wall. That slots him back down into fourth. Thompson tries to see if he can get underneath, but nothing doing.
314. Now, Thompson's got to be careful. He is comfortable in the transfer position. I know he'd like to pick up a few more spots. He's got his teammate ahead of him. And my gosh, they continue to bang off the wall.
Thomas Lovelady, after getting rattled a little bit, slamming into the wall, needs to calm down. He's sitting silently behind Nick Kuhn, not able to pass him at the moment, but he's still safe in that fourth position. They've got 6 laps to go. He only has to hold on for a little bit longer to make it into the A main.
Feel sorry for Aaron Stowe, man. They really came down with a hammer on that. You're done for this heat.
Unfortunately, I don't think Mike Willett, one of our organizers in this lead, is looking at a boys have at it attitude for tonight. He wants clean racing.
Knock on Naugahyde here. We're almost 2 heats under our belt, and we only have 1 yellow flag. That's a winner so far.
3 laps to go as Clement continues to stretch himself away from Callisto, just like he did in the first half of this race. Keeping that nice low line, really tucking it in. Callisto trying to keep his momentum up high.
All they have to really do is try not to make a mistake if you're in the top 5, because it is clear distance for the top 5 cars for the next stage.
Thompson had to go down to the inside of
He sure
Lovelady,
did.
but couldn't make it work. Meanwhile, as we now come down to 2 laps to go, last lap, white flag is out. Clement coming around with 2 more corners. Out of 4th, the number 111 is going to be your winner here in Heat 2 at Eldora. Callisto comes home in 2nd. Nick Kuhn will be in 3rd. Thomas Lovelady manages to hold him off for 4th. Michael Thompson is your final finisher to advance from this heat into the A-main at 5th. Mark Lossing, unfortunately, just off the bubble, finishes in 6th. Jimbo Pfeiffer will be in 7th. Gary Nichols in 8th, and Aaron Stowe was a D and F, having been black flagged and electing not to come back out on track. That is your finishing order here. We are going to get ready for the next heat, and as we do that, Bill, what are we looking at for our next point scoring bit of the championship?
Well, let's go ahead and talk about the Constructors Championship. This is the team championship. There's about 4 or 5 drivers per team. Alliance Racing, very, very strong out there. They have Kalisto. We saw him coming in second place in this heat. Fleischle, Bennett, Smith also involved in that one. They are way out in front by 135 points. Elite Sweat Racing. Now that's who you just saw Lovelady and Thompson racing for us. They came home in 4th and 5th. They're sitting in 2nd right now overall. Riding Shotgun. They got some great paint schemes. I haven't seen one of those yet. We'll have to watch for Reynolds, Archer, Franklin, and Gruber running that one, sitting in 3rd. Mountain West Motorsports, well, they're sitting in 4th position. They're well out of it, 207 points back, but they're trying to hang on. And here's the surprise team of the season, Grizzly Motorsports. We talked about it before. All the guys from the Resan United League coming over. Joshua Hallen-Wolf, Trevor Barun-Borowski, and Travis Henderson all on that one. They're sitting in 5th right now. So there you have it, the Constructors standings.
And now that we've witnessed our first caution of the night, Justin, are you expecting more? Do you think drivers maybe took anything away from that? Or do you expect it to get worse as the night goes on with the yellows?
Well, with the heats, I think it's going to be about status quo or par for the course, maybe a caution or two per heat, because as there is not a lot of time, of course, to have cautions with 20 laps. The A main, I think, is when things are going to pick up caution-wise, but we'll have to really see.
Already, we're getting warm-up going for our next heat. This will be Heat 3 that the drivers will be competing in. A couple other big names going to be out there for this one. Guys like Wayne Hutchison going to be up there. Josh Wolf, big name out there up towards the front. Chad Barker as well going to be in this one. Tends to be good, especially on the oval side. Can his pavement experience translate over to dirt?
We'll definitely have to see. We also have another big name, actually, too. The leader of the Legends division, Brian Bennett, will also be in this heat. He is 2nd right now in the warm-up times with a 15 flat as Joshua Wolf bounces off the wall. But Brian Bennett is somebody I think you have to watch as well.
And a hello to Mom and Dad McGreevy out there, as Brian is in this one as well. His Mom and Dad watch.
You're going to get the name right this time, right?
I am not going, I'm not even going to even have my tongue say it because it might come out by accident. Brian McGreevy.
He'll love his paint scheme, though. An homage to the Cars movie franchise. He's got Lightning McQueen out there. Also, we should mention Clark Archer in this one. He was our winner at Le Mans. Can he go from winning a Predator format endurance race in sports cars from here to almost the complete opposite?
You can't get any more different than that. Just not only in just the car, but just an attitude. When you think about Le Mans and then where we are here today. Caviar and hot dogs, you know?
Exactly. Well, that would be an interesting mix, caviar and hot dogs. I'll have to suggest that one. Meanwhile, one thing we noticed, riding shotgun there, emblazoned upon that number 29. That is another big competing team. Obviously, a lot of Texas pride for those guys. A lot of Texas drivers in that team that they have proven. We saw at the Indy 500, Bill, that riding shotgun should not be trifled with. They've come to the fore.
Yeah, they were very, very impressive in that one. And of course, that race was won. The Indy race was won by Brian Bennett, though, in the DW12. Indy was a great event for these guys. They did the whole distance in that one. We'll see how it plays out today on the dirt.
Well, if you're just joining us, this is the round 9 of the Pacific Majors, the first time ever for this series going to dirt. And I'm looking forward to seeing how the A-Main plays out. We've already gotten a taste of how the racing will be, and I am impressed with the way these guys have been handling it, Justin.
Yeah, I'm impressed too. It's been very good handling from a lot of the drivers, even from the lowest qualifying times in the first 2 heats. They still put up a good fight for positions and had some good runs. There was a couple drivers, yes, who struggled, but most of the field really has been running fairly clean, other than the 1 or 2 incidents, really, the last lap of Heat 1 and the caution flag. So I expect to hopefully see the same in Heat 3.
I hope so as well. Again, if you're just joining us, they are doing 5 heats here today. Then they are doing a last chance qualifier. We'll be covering that here on the Global Sim Racing channel. And then we will cover the A main, the finale, where we'll have 28 drivers out here at once doing a full 100 laps around this half-mile oval. If your favorite driver doesn't make it into the A main, you can catch the B main over on Off-Camber TV. They will be broadcasting at the exact same time we are here with the lower split finish.
I know we're supposed to say impartial here at GSRC, but I can't help but have a little bit of my heartstrings tugged for Tom Drowning out there, qualified in 5th. He is if there is a hot and cold driver, it is him. Sometimes I have seen him drive where I go, oh my goodness, and then sometimes he is really on his game. We'll see how he fares on dirt.
I'm actually a member with him in the Apex Academy to be fully admitted there, so I have seen him race fairly well as well, so he does have the talent to compete here. It's just he has to get the consistency for tonight, along with everybody else, really.
So our grid is going to be Chad Barker starting on the front row. In second, it'll be Josh Wolf.
Wayne Hutchison and Brian McGreevy make up row number 2.
Your Legends Division leader, Brian Bennett, starts alongside Tom Drelling in row 3.
Then in 7th, it'll be Clark Archer. On the outside of row 4 will be Matt Gelder.
And Chris Branson and Jeremy Morrison make up the last row. 10 drivers here, and they're all here, Joe.
So going to be a little bit harder than last time with them missing a car in the previous heat. As they wait to get going, now they've all gridded up, so the pace truck is going to lead them out here momentarily.
Let me correct myself. Dryling qualifying in 6th, so he will have to pick up 1 spot. Ooh. My goodness, the pyrotechnic budget must be something for this event, because
iRacing spared no expense, let me tell you.
My gosh.
Again, they've got ones after and before, so that's just in the heats, 10 sets of fireworks. That's a hefty budget there.
Must be getting pretty smoky out there.
So as Chad Barker leads them away, Josh Wolf is going to be hoping to get a bit of a better jump than we've seen from the previous drivers starting in 2nd place. And we know that Wolf is pretty handy on these ovals as they start around pace lap 2.
Brian Bennett in the transfer position right now, sitting 3rd overall in the Mario Andretti Points Championship.
And by the way, that is officially sanctioned and endorsed by Mario Andretti himself.
That is so cool.
We did not arbitrarily name that one.
And is there a better driver? Is there about to go green? Is there a better driver for what they do here?
Exactly, racing anything and everything. Yep. Andretti himself raced dirt as they're doing right now with another good jump. And in fact, Josh Wolf with a horrible start. He slots down to 3rd, gets into the back of Wayne Hutchison. Could be under threat. We have a big behind them.
That's McGreevy involved, the 68 machine. He's fishtailing back and forth. I think we're going to stay green.
Nobody got it turned around, and the stewards are going to let them continue. That has switched things up a treat. Dryling leading.
Tom Dryling is parked.
Oh, excuse me. Hutchison leading then. Dryling must have towed as Wolf is in 2nd, Barker 3rd, McGreevy down to 4th, and Bennett in 5th. No, excuse me. My timing and scoring is screwed up.
Yeah, we got Archer in 5th. I know, Joe, it's happened to me too. You got to remember to refresh that one. Brian Bennett in 4th.
That's Barker leading, Hutchison 2nd, Wolf 3rd, Bennett 4th, and Archer in the transfer spot.
This is just an absolute wild start to this compared to the other 2 heats. Heats basically, I think right now, hopefully it settles down.
Well, Wolf is not looking to settle down. He's trying to get to the low side to get underneath Wayne Hutchison, take away that 2nd position that he started in. Can't quite get the speed off of 2. Chucks it in down into 3, but look at Hutchison. He gets wise, holds it down low as well to block him off, but it backfires as Wolf comes to the high side, tries to carry the speed, and look at this. Wolf gets around.
There it is. Josh will moving up into 2nd position, picking up, getting around Wayne Hutchison back to 3rd. Brian Bennett in 4th. Now, Christmas has come early to Clark Archer. He qualified, he gridded in 7th, he's up to 5th.
Yeah, with a little bit of chaos on the start with the Kachow driver, Brian McGreevy. He It's now to the point where Clark Archer's taking advantage, of course, along with Brian Bennett, both of them moving up a couple spots, as you said.
Archer comfortably in that transfer spot, 2.5 seconds ahead of McGreevy. Poor McGreevy, he got turned around. He did a great job of keeping the car going straight. That was phenomenal driving. The bad news for him was, since he kept it going straight, he didn't get any help from the yellow flag as we stayed green, and he lost a ton of time. But we had our first real pass on the track, a legitimate pass by Joshua Wolf as he got around Hutchinson. Wolf now up into second. All that taking place behind Chad Barker, who's just having a nice Sunday night drive, about almost a full second ahead of Wolf right now.
I asked the question whether or not Wolf's skills on the pavement would transfer over to dirt, and I'd say the answer is yes, judging by that pass. Wayne Hutchison continues to slip backwards as Bennett has closed in on the rear spoiler of that number 17.
It's a little surprising, too, because Hutchinson had a great start of this race, actually getting by Wolf on that start, and now he's just losing positions. Like, I think he's having a hard time finding the line. He's going to lose in our position here to Bennett if he doesn't be careful.
Bennett getting down the low side, trying to get that 71 to bite. I think he's got a good run at it here.
If he can get the speed off the corner, that's always the tricky part with that low side, and the number 71 slots back. He had a good chance. I was with you, Bill. I thought that for sure he was going to get this, but he's going to have to regroup, try it again. Meanwhile, Josh Wolf has not only passed into second, he has run down our leader. He's given a go for P1.
A name to remember. Mark that on your clipboards because we saw him make the pass on Hutchinson, and we really haven't seen a lot of passing so far. Maybe that's just because people are comfortable in the transfer spot, but Wolf looking to get around. Boy, he's really got that car hooked up. I like the line he's taking in that dark blue and black machine.
We watched from on board, and you could tell he's getting closer and closer under the gearbox of Chad Barker.
Yeah, this could be our first battle for the lead, really, of all the heats during green flag runs. And you can see Wolf has got the better car, it seems, their setup on the long run compared to Barker as we're coming towards the 3 to go mark.
Laps are ticking down. Wolf is running out of chances. He knows he doesn't have to win, but every spot that he gains is going to give him a better position in the A main.
Oh, with passing at a premium, this is huge because this is not just one spot. This is really 5 spots when you consider where he's going to grid in the main event. If he can get this done.
A little bit of an attempt behind them as well between Bennett and Hutchinson, but neither first and second or third and fourth are able to change positions. Wolf still trying on that low line as they get the white flag. He's running out of chances. It's going to take a wild move for him to make it stick here. He looks to the inside of the 51, but Chad Barker keeps the momentum off through 3 and 4. No attempt from Josh Wolf as Chad Barker comes to the line, takes the win in Heat 3. Wolf's going to finish in second. Wayne Hutchison comes home in third. Brian Bennett in fourth. And the final car to advance for this heat is going to be Clark Archer. Brian McGreevy just outside. He'll go to the B main, finishing sixth today. Chris Branson in seventh. Matt Gelder could not unwrap the foil and get to the chocolate inside, and he stays 8th. Jeremy Morrison 9th, and Tom Dreiling, unfortunately, DNF'd, finishing in 10th. With that, we're going to take a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Don't go away. We've got 2 more heats to go, a last chance qualifier, and the finale.
All the moms think he's cute. He's not. All the dads wish he was their son. Sorry, Pops. Everybody else, they just want to see him blow stuff up. Satisfaction? Guaranteed.
Name's Tux. Agent Tux. And the pleasure, I'm sure, will be all yours.
Agent Tux is the world's most extravagant secret agent, and also its most mini. Become an insider today by subscribing to Agent Tux on YouTube and liking him on Facebook.
averaging 0.10 gallons per lap.
Pit stop, add 5 gallons, change right side only.
Hitbox in 10, 9, 8, 1. Bingo. 10-4, adding 5 gallons, changing right side tires.
Welcome back to Eldora Speedway. We're getting ready to watch heat number 4 here in the Dirt Late Model Dream here at the Pacific Majors for round 9 of their season. And with warm-up already underway for this next heat, let's go to our points championship update in the Sportsman division.
Yeah, with the Drivers' Championship out of the way and then the Team Championship, now you get down to the classes that are a little closer to my skill level here. We get to the Sportsman level, and this is where we have Trevor Clement. We know we saw him on the pole of that last heat come home with the win, so you see him at the top. They were in a tie going into last round. He was in a tie with D. Palmer. Palmer drops down a spot now, 51 points down. Mark Herzog and Aaron Stowe, also we saw in that last event, go 3rd and 4th. And then welcome to the overlay. Steve Paulison coming up there, racing for Thunder Road out of the Northwest in 5th spot. So there's one more category we get out of the way.
Now, we've talked a lot about the variety that these drivers have to face in this series, all the different types of racing. A new one that we're going to see, I'm pretty sure we haven't run in the Pacific Majors yet, up at the next round, Bill. They're going to take the Cup cars, the NASCAR Cup cars, to Watkins Glen.
Mm-hmm. My goodness. Well, I guess they belong there, yeah, but I don't. You're actually right, Joe, even though you think that would be something that this series would have done. I don't think they've actually put the Cup cars where they belong at Watkins Glen. Personally, I can't wait for those road courses in NASCAR when they have those. And am I correct in hearing that NASCAR has decided they're going to put the road course at Charlotte for next season in the Chase?
Yes.
It's going to be a little different than the one we have on iRacing. But boy, that's great.
Yeah, the Roval, as it puts it, to get a road course race in the Chase in 2018. What was the Bank of America 500 is going to become a 500K race. That's going to be fun to watch too. But of course, we're still going to have a lot of fun with the next heat here as well, I believe.
Indeed, as we see them experimenting with these lines, trying to find what works and what doesn't as the track starts to get worn in. They get plenty of laps in this warm-up to try and experience the evolving of iRacing's dirt surface model, which, Justin, I love all that they put into this. I wasn't really much into driving oval myself on the pavement side. For some reason, didn't excite me as much as road, which is not to put it down. It was just a personal preference. But when I stepped over to the dirt and the variability, it really brought the oval racing alive for me.
I think it does. I think it does bring it alive because this is, I think, their most comprehensive track model yet, because this is something where you drive over the lines, it actually affects how the track is. Like on the oval side, yes, it does rubber in, but it's not as significant as I think it is in real life in some points. With the dirt, it's like you can see the imprints of the car tires being left into the dirt. You can see the shine of the wet dirt from the grandstands and from the shining lights if you're above the track. It's, I think, a better experience really too if you're preferring a road course angle, because it's not just turn left and that's it, as some say. I hate the cliche of that, but it's also where you have to make sure you turn the car right and hit the brakes just right to get the car to rotate through the turns here, sliding through the dirt.
And full disclosure, since these are separate sessions in iRacing, they are actually starting each the track surface will reset to what it was before, because it doesn't carry over from heat to heat. But where we're really going to see this, boys, is when we get a whole bunch of cars out there racing for a whole lot of laps. That's really going to be something.
You're right, Bill. And more than that, it's not just that they have the grip of the surface changing, Bill. I don't know if you've experienced it, but it should happen somewhat in these cars. They can actually cause ruts in this track. It is that detailed, this surface model, that if the cars dig into one spot enough, it will get lower on them. It can cause them to have to deal with that, just like real-world dirt racers do.
I got to give a tip and a half to iRacing. Look what they're trying to do. They have dirt, they have road, they have oval. Wow, quite a platform. I mean, they are taking on all comers here.
And they have recently announced as well that they are working on the global rallycross stuff. So yeah, that is going to be a hoot.
You think Mike Willett will find a spot for that?
Oh, I have no doubt that he will. And I am looking forward to that one. Checkered flag is out on the warm-up, so let's get to our grid here once we get the order onto our timing and scoring screens. So, on your pole, it's going to be Brian Barnes with Travis Henderson starting on the outside of the front row.
Ryan Worley inside of row 2, and for those who don't know, he races with a disability. He's short, I think, a foot and a hand. He's talked about it before. He has some special paraphernalia that allows him to race. Good luck to him. Sitting pretty good inside of row 2, inside of the French-Canadian Claude Baval.
Carl Berg starts on the inside of row 3 along with Lynn Kinchlow. Kinchlow looking to have a good run as well.
Starting in 7th, Jeremy Testar. The outside of row 4 will hold Scott Wanbaugh.
Longtime veteran of the Pack Majors, Mark Redeker, in the 9th position. And the last car out there, Dwayne White, he's got some work to do as he starts in 10th.
They were getting a little bit of special instructions out there, as I guess they're trying to make sure that they have the right idea of how they want this raced out there today. Just the stewards kind of talking to the drivers after what they saw earlier on. Fireworks going once again, Bill.
Yeah, it's there.
Oh, so no oohs and ahs this time.
No,
okay, I see.
It's wearing on me now.
It's only special so many times, right?
Yeah. Look at this. How fun is this? Look at that shot off the tail there of Henderson. There's another WSU transfer over, another Grizzly driver.
Love how we can see that Nerf bar on the back that they have just like in real life on these machines.
And it looks like Dwayne White has pulled off the track as well. He is no longer on the starting grid here as we come to 1 to go on the pace lap.
Well, sad to see that we've lost a driver already, but that'll make it easier for those still out there, knowing there's less of a chance that they won't advance to the AMA. And again, this is heat number 4 that we're watching of 5 heats today. Only one more than we watched the last chance qualifier. Boy, you talk about putting drivers under pressure. That is probably going to be a little bit more caution-filled, encouraging some crazy moves. But Brian Barnes gets a good jump off of 4 as the green waves. So does the car looking to get second place. Ryan Worley trying to sneak in there. A few guys getting very sideways through the first few corners, but everybody managing to get through without a caution.
Kinchlow got a little bit loose. I thought he was going to really struggle, but he's able to hang on to it.
Travis Henderson under threat from Ryan Worley. Easy for me to say.
Scott Wanborough is struggling a little bit, though. He has wiggled all over the place. A few cars are now wiggling, as well. Carl Burke almost lost it on the front stretch. Oh, and we got trouble. Turn 1.
Caution is out. Claude Belval gets shoved around as a car looks to the inside. That was Carl Burke. Let's look at the replay. Looks like he clips the inside wall here, Bill, and that just unfortunately sends him up into Claude Belval, who takes the worst of this incident.
Yeah, Belval qualified in 4th position. He was in a good position to transfer over. We're going to look from on top now.
Oh, and Carl Burke has exited. He must have not come out of that one squeaky clean. You can see that 53 slides up into the outside wall of 1 and 2. Both drivers have headed to the pits. Carl Burke has actually stepped out of his car. He's done. Claude Belval is still sitting there. I think he intends to get back out.
Yeah, he actually stopped on the track and had to pull behind the pace car after wall, and it was in fact bouncing off the pit wall as it was seen in the replays. So we're going to have to see if he will be able to come back out on the track, because that is a significant amount of damage, I feel, as well. It's not just the simple bounce off the wall, get a little bump or damage. It's pretty significant, I feel, with that kind of collision he had.
Absolutely. Brian Barnes still your leader, as I believe they're going to go green this time by Travis Henderson. Managed to hold off Ryan Worley, who's still in 3rd. Len Kitchlow in 4th, and Jeremy Tester and your bubble spot.
Yeah, and everyone's just trying to set things and seeing how things are going to go. There hasn't been a lot of time really to cushion the track or into the track as we are back underway.
Green flag is out as we still have a lot of laps left to go here. Brian Barnes getting a good jump off the line. They're doing single file restarts, but boy, wait till the A-main where they do double file. Barnes holding down the low all the way to the concrete as Henderson gets a good run off the corner. Henderson's looking to the low side, but can't carry the momentum.
And Henderson got a great restart, really, once he got going. It seems Barnes has struggled a little bit on a couple of the exits already. So he's just got to focus on getting this back to normal, really, and focus on the grooves without getting too close to that wall there on the backstretch.
Our top 5 all just running tidily at the moment, although Worley starting to be under a little bit of pressure for that podium spot. That's Lynn Kinchlow in the number 181, trying to see what he can do.
Personally, I'm surprised what Worley can do with how he is, with the disabilities. He's actually doing a great job, in fact, with the setup he has, and he is just dialed in right now for how he's running in that middle groove.
Worley has actually won the Indy 500 in the Pac Majors. So not only is he a good driver, he's a great winner here in this series. But right now, Brian Barnes trying to add to his tally as a winner at least of a heat race today. We are now past halfway.
Past halfway, and Barnes is just trying to stretch out the gap, really. He's now getting the better exits, getting it to the bottom of the track, sliding it through, going on to the high side for the exits, and getting a better exit compared to how Henderson's exiting those corners right now.
And only 7 cars are left on track at the moment, so only 2 will not advance. A little bit way up high in the middle of the corner for Travis Henderson, puts him back into the clutches of Ryan Worley.
All that going on in front of Jeremy Tester, who looks very, very comfortable in 5th spot, as he's got about, oh my goodness, about a second over Scott Wambaugh. Wambaugh really going to have to hustle to get there.
Right on board with Henderson. We're riding on board with Henderson as, Worley, I suppose. Works that middle line, seems to like right smack dab in the middle of the corners. We're starting to see a cushion evolve on the outside of 1 and 2, but not so much on the outside of 3 and 4. Now it's starting to come in a little bit unseen, but on the exit, it is dissipating significantly.
And there we look at Tester running in 5th, comfortably ahead of Wanbaugh. I got a shout out to Brian Barnes. I love it. The guy never lets me down as he runs that fluorescent blue popsicle machine every race.
Right now, he's only got to run it for a couple more laps here at Eldora until the A main, if he can hold on to this as he takes the white flag.
Barnes was our top driver in the points, sitting in 9th.
And
Round 3 and 4, Brian Barnes is going to take your win here at Eldora, solidly over Travis Henderson, who's going to come home in 2nd. Ryan Worley, beautiful run to the podium there for the 040. Glenn Kinchlow is going to finish in 4th, and Jeremy Tester, as we mentioned, the final transfer driver into the A main for this heat in 5th. Scott Wanbaugh and Mark Redeker, the only two not to advance, still running at the end in 6th and 7th. Claude Beauval, Carl Burke, and Dwayne White were all 3 DNFs.
Beauval and Clark qualified or gridded 4th and 5th. Got to be disappointed not to transfer. They still got one more shot, though.
And we only have one more heat to go, then we will know at least 25 of our A main competitors. The LCQ will be the one that will really determine who the wild cards are, the drivers who could have been fast but for whatever reason didn't get good finishes. And Justin, we've seen a few of those today, so I think we might see a few guys that are extremely hungry to take their chances in that LCQ.
I think so too, because if they don't succeed in that LCQ, they go to the B main instead of the A main, really. So they're going to be trying to be really really try and push the issue in a lot of times, try and be very aggressive possibly to get into those final transfer spots. So you're going to probably see a lot of drivers trying to get aggressive passes, maybe he go for a slide job, who knows, we'll have to see, depending on what the drivers decide to do, really.
And Bill, we've got another championship coming up that is a little bit close to your heart.
Yep.
Those maybe lacking follicles.
This is the Rogaine and Ben Gage division, I guess here. Yes, this is the over 50, and really kind of misleading because look at this, Brian Bennett right up there. He's crushing it with 10,000, almost 1,000, over 1,000 points, 1,047 to be precise for Northwest Course Racing for Alliance Racing. Brian Barnes, who we just saw, Mr. Popsicle, he's very cool, 56 points back. Wayne Hutchinson and Brad the Pastrami Beltrami swap positions there, 3rd and 4th with Hutchinson on top, Beltrami now down to 4th. And Rob Gall, the driver from the West, longtime veteran racing for Mountain West Motorsports, rounding out the overlay. Well out of the lead, but still good to see him on the chart.
As the drivers start to warm up for the 5th heat of the night, one of the drivers in here, Bill, that I want to make note of because I know you're a big fan of his, taking the old route here to Indy, what used to be the open wheelers in the American side of things took. Richie Hearn getting back to those IndyCar routes.
That's how you used to do it. Used to come up through there, and I'm not sure. I would kind of imagine that Richie probably has some dirt experience. I don't know. He was back in the mid 80s, maybe not. You could probably come up just as a asphalt driver, but good to see him out there. He's going to be sitting outside of row 1. Should have an easy transfer position if you can just keep it clean. Hey, look who's down there also. We don't get a chance to call him very much. Sitting in 5th position is our series organizer, Mike Willett. It's been a long time since we got to see you call a race with him in it.
Absolutely. Good to see Mike out here again.
Yeah, we got a good group of drivers, really. Ray Partridge, I think, is someone I think that could have a pretty good run based on how the lines are going with how he's preparing and how he qualified, really. So it's going to be fun to watch, really. This final heat, the final 5 for the top 25, really, are being decided here as Partridge bounces off the wall.
Joe, you'll admit with this, Mike Willett may not be the best iRacer, but when it comes to series organizers, man, he goes in the Hall of Fame right away.
He does his homework. He listens to everybody. he doesn't always take everybody's advice, but he hears them out,
Yep.
which I think is an important thing. And it's what makes the series that he runs so incredible. Another driver in here that to me is a bit of a wild card, Bill. Drew Lalonde. We've seen him very competitive in some of these oval races.
Yeah, I don't know what you get with Drew Lalonde. He's sitting in 6th position right now. He's got Willett going to be inside of him for row 3, so he's going to have to pick him a little bit to carry over. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see him finish first or last. I'm not sure how to call that one.
All right, they are going to get gridded up here. And as you mentioned, Brandon Chappelle is going to start on the pole just to the inside of Richie Hearn.
William Fletcher and Ray Partridge make up row 2.
One of your series organizers, Michael Lett, starts off row 3 alongside Drew Lalonde.
Bob Beltrami starting in 7th, and outside of row 4, going to be Mark Herzog.
Jeremy Leto and C.R. Reed make up your last row. 10 drivers scheduled to start, and they're all here.
They're getting those instructions from the stewards once again, giving them the once-over before they take off on their pace laps and before we get the pyrotechnics one more time. They work their way out of pit lane.
You gotta love fireworks, don't you? Lots of big explosions.
I did.
Oh, it's they've been, sometimes we forget that the technology for fireworks have been around for such a long time, just how advanced they've become, really. It seems like just an explosion up in the sky, but some incredible artistry that go into those things. So my appreciation of those people in the real world that make them.
And very consistent, because it seems like they look exactly the same for each heat. So they really make them. They really know what they're going to get.
Well, you don't know what you're going to get when it comes to dirt racing. We've seen that already. A number of top drivers having fallen by the wayside, including our first heat scene, our pole sitter lead every lap except for the last one. Let's see what happens to our pole sitter in this one as Brandon Chappelle takes off and his teammate Richie Hearn slots in behind. Cars getting wadded up behind them. We got one turnaround. Caution already for Mark Herzog.
This started, I think, with the 86 of Mike Willett getting a little bit loose in front of everybody.
And unfortunately for Mark Herzog, he is the one that gets 86th in that and slips to the back.
Yeah, that was just a bad spot at the wrong time, really, for him, because it was a good start for him. It's just the chaos happened in front of him, so luckily he's still going, and it looks like very minimal damage from that, just spinning around in his Allegiance Evolution car.
Beltrami got into Willett really hard on that 14 machine.
Let's get a close-up of Beltrami. Ever since he started this paint scheme earlier this year, I feel very honored that he's embraced our nickname for him, as he's actually got a salami sponsor on that car, Gallo. I always love when the drivers have a sense of humor.
No fault, no incident, they're saying on this one.
Well, you gotta love your salamis, that's for sure. Nice, delicious lunch meat, I guess.
Yeah, indeed. George Wood is our steward out there today. Live stewards here in the Pacific Majors. That's how they were able to give out a black flag in Heat 2, I believe it was, to Aaron Stowe. Well, so they're asking him to take a second look, interestingly.
I don't know what could have...
Yeah,
going to penalize somebody for getting loose, but that's...
Things happen at the start, as far as I'm concerned. You can't get too harsh on those. But driver is about to get harsh on this dirt as Brandon Chappelle accelerates away once again. This time, single file should be easier for the cars to sort themselves out. Down into one. Mike Willett gets a little bit loose once again. He's up into the wall and he slips backwards.
Yeah, Mike having a hard time of it. Look back in. We got to go. The 5th position. This is Drew Lalonde. Man, he's trying. Look at him work this. Where are you going, Drew? I told you don't know what you're going to get from this guy. The number 3 machine is all over the place.
It looks like it's someone who's struggling to really get the car to turn because it seems like he's either letting off the gas a little bit too much or letting off the gas not enough or whatever, or just not being able to rotate the car because it looks like he's struggling to get the thing to turn through the turns. And you're already seeing now he's going to have to worry about Mark Herzog, who is already coming up right behind him from that incident.
Herzog, though, is fighting with Bob Beltrami. They've been side by side for a number of laps. Finally, Herzog does a slide job on him, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to hold on to it. As up and under goes Bob Beltrami, but he slides between them. Oh, and he gets tipped around. Holds onto it, no caution. Goes backwards, and Mike Ouellette's going to take the position. Drew Lalonde, who did get passed earlier, he lost that 5th place to Jeremy Lato, the 686 now in the bubble spot.
Meanwhile, up front, Richie Hearn out in front of Chappell.
Oh, we missed a pass for the lead then.
Yep.
So somewhere along the line, Richie Hearn slipped by his teammate Brandon Chappell. Ray Partridge now closing in on the number 44. You ride on board with Ray?
You have to wonder if he's going to be able to see really because, of course, there are tear-off, when visor tear-offs, but because you will have a ton of mud flying into your windshield, or your face, I should say, because there is no dirt guards really on these cars. So it's going to be hard for you to see where you're going.
Partridge has really slammed it in the wall, really trying to make the top side work. I don't know if he thinks it's the best way. I think he just says, I'm never going to pass him if I'm following him around, so he sees what he can do up top.
Experimentation
he learned a lesson,
is the name of the game. Ray Partridge is trying it. While those two teammates are doing the low line, he's trying the high line. He is gaining on Chappell once again.
Yeah, he seems to he's making that high line work in 1 and 2 compared to Chappell. He's not losing time really, and is getting better exits compared to Chappell right now. So, if he keeps it consistently going with 5 laps to go, he might be able to sneak away with a second spot here.
He's running out of laps to do it. Only 5 to go now. Rifling off quick as Richie Hearn, showing he's not just an IndyCar driver who drove on pavement. He knows how to stir up the dirt here.
Tell me this isn't realistic. This is the only commentating I've ever done where I find myself leaning to the left the whole time. Come on, guys, get it to go.
Herzog was giving a go at Drew Lalonde, seeing if he could get into the 6th spot to give himself a chance at the top 5, but Lalonde is holding him off.
Yeah, and Jeremy Leto currently has that transfer spot position, so both of them are trying to get right up to him if they can with a few laps to go.
And remember, that battle for 6th is important because that's a grid spot. Boy, as they go at it back there in 6th, Lalonde on the outside, Herzog on the inside in the 57. I think he's going to get it as the number 3 gets squiggly, and he can't get it off the wall.
Unfortunately, we got to duck away from this because Richie Hearn just took the white flag as he comes around turns 3 and 4. The number 70 is going to take the win here at Eldora for heat number 5.
Chappell, Partridge, yeah.
Chappell, excuse me, in 2nd, Partridge 3rd. Fletcher going to come home 4th. Jeremy Lato with a great move earlier on in the race, grabbing him that transfer spot. Mark Herzog, unfortunately, just outside of it, even though he did get past Drew Lalonde, who finishes in 7th. Bob Beltrami, early problem, sent him backwards, never recovered. He comes home in 8th. Mike Ouellette, same thing, finishing 9th. And C.R. Reed is going to be the last finisher here in the final heat. With that, we are going to take another break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We're going to come back for the last chance qualifier.
All the moms think he's cute. He's not. All the dads wish he was their son. Sorry, Pops. Everybody else, they just want to see him blow stuff up. Satisfaction? Guaranteed.
Name's Tux, Agent Tux. In the pleasure, I'm sure, will be all yours.
Agent Tux is the world's most extravagant secret agent, and also its most mini, Become an insider today by subscribing to Agent Tux on YouTube and liking him on Facebook.
Fuel usage.
Averaging 0.10 gallons per lap.
Pit stop, add 5 gallons. Change right side only.
Hitbox in 10, 9, 8, 1. Bingo. 10-4, adding 5 gallons. Changing right side tires.
Welcome back to round 9 of the Pacific Majors, where we are watching the Dirt Late Model Dream here at Eldora Speedway, presented by Agent Tux. We've just watched our first 5 heats. That tells us what 25 cars are going to be going on into the A main, but it also tells us what cars are going to be competing in the next race, which is the last chance qualifier. Before we get to that, though, we have some drivers from those heat races to talk to. First off, let's talk to Trevor Vavrovsky, who managed to get himself a win in his heat after that one. Trevor, we've seen you perform very well here in the Pacific Majors on the pavement side. How does it feel transferring over to the loose stuff?
Terrible. This is a struggle, a huge struggle.
So I take it you're not a fan of iRacing's new dirt then? You tend to stick to the pavement side even though it's been released now?
Oh no, don't get me wrong. Dirt is tons of fun. I am terrible at it. If we went any more than 20 laps, I guarantee you I would have hit the wall 15 times. Luck had everything to do with that win.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw the seas part for you. What was going through your head when that happened at the end?
Oh, I was ecstatic. I ran another 2 laps basically and was like, guys, I just won that race. Guys, how? I just won. How did that happen? No, it's really unfortunate for him there, especially being the number 1 overall qualifier, having that happen on the last lap. But I'll take what I can get.
Yeah, he ended up finishing about, and of course we're talking about Garrett Holsey, who was the pole sitter for that event. That's going to be a tough. That's going to be a tough ask to have to get top 3 with that big field, and he's not even going to get to start up front because he finished like 7th or 8th in the heat race.
Yeah, but it's a 25 lap LCQ, correct?
Yeah.
Giving all of those being green, I don't see why he couldn't make up 5-6 spots. He was flying.
How much does the track change? I know we don't have a lot of cars out there, and they're kind of short heats. Does it change much in the little time that you race in your heat race?
The heat race, no. Really, after you get the first couple laps in, and then the track goes from being completely new to just kind of wet and damp, and all the grooves feel great. It feels great, but once we get more cars on it and more laps, it's going to go bad very quickly.
Well, Trevor, we're going to let you go. We're going to bring in one of your Grizzly partners here, and we're going to talk to Joshua Howland Wolf. So good luck to you, and the Northwest Club continues to be strong.
Yep. Just remind him where he finished compared to me.
I think these guys aren't competitive. Guess again, but let's bring Josh Wolf in and talk to him about his race as well as his team. Josh, Grizzly Motorsports has come in. This is you guys' first season in the Pacific Majors, and you've, I would say, made a splash among the teams championship. How did you guys come in so competitive? Did you expect that at all?
We've just been working great as a team. I've had Travis helping me a lot with setups. We'll just bounce stuff off of each other. And then Trevor pretty much has been very good about just getting in whatever we give him and being quick at it. So, yeah, it just worked out great. Definitely the little team trying to compete against those big guys.
Now, you don't have to worry about this last chance qualifier, but I'm assuming you've taken some things out of watching the heat races, and I'm assuming you're going to be watching the LCQ and trying to take some notes on that. What have you learned so far that might change how you race or your strategy for the A-Main?
I saw a little bit of track change. I'm kind of hoping that we don't have a whole lot of cautions. Of course, we'll see what happens there in the A-Main. We've got a lot of cars, so we'll see what happens there. I definitely kind of looking forward to seeing if this track changes and trying to find that fast groove, whether it's going to be at the bottom or the top. I know probably for the beginning of the race, a lot of it's going to be right at the middle or to bottom of the track, but just kind of excited about that. It's been a lot of fun since Dirt came out to just be able to move around and find that fast lane.
Indeed, I can attest to that myself. Before we let you go, give me a prediction. Where do you think you're going to finish in the A-Main when it's all said and done?
I'd love to be up front. I'm just gonna, if I can keep the car clean and just have a lot of fun racing, I'll take wherever I finish. Definitely would love to be up front and maybe fight for a win.
All right, thank you. That was Josh Wolf, who competed in our heats today and does advance into the A-Main as one of the top 5 finishers in his heat. Up next, I believe we have, actually, tell you what, why don't we do one of our winners? We've got Richie Hearn waiting in the wings, and he came out on top in his heat. And I'll let Bill talk to Richie about what it was like racing dirt today.
Richie, I know you came up in real life. You were racing mid-'80s there. Did you come up through the dirt ranks to get to Indy?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Richie.
I finally figured this thing out. That'd be a negative. I did some dirt in a go-kart about, 35 years ago.
Yeah, we were talking about that during the broadcast. That road, the old road through dirt that used to go up there, not so much anymore, is it?
No, it's definitely not transferable to those cars. And I grew up in California, so there wasn't really that much going on. I guess you grew up in Indiana, that's what you did. But I was more into the road racing stuff. But, I find it's like driving a little bit in the rain. So it's just about feeling the traction and just being soft with your feet.
We talk about the difference of real-world racing and iRacing. One of the advantages to iRacing is at least you don't have to find a sponsor to get to race, huh? If you got the talent, you get to do it.
That is why I do it. People ask me all the time if I race for real, and I tell people, not unless you're paying for it. So, this is my way of getting my fix, and truly, it actually does give me that emotional release, and it's so good that I love it.
Richie, why is it? I'm just going to talk to you. I'm going to get away from where we are and talk some stuff to you. Why is it that drivers need to bring in their sponsors? You don't see mechanics having to bring in sponsors. They'll pay everybody else except the driver's supposed to find his own financing.
And I've been asking that question a long time.
Really?
Everybody else on the team is getting paid, and most of the drivers are bringing money. And I think it just comes down to, there's always going to be some guy, even if he's a total wanker, who's going to have some money. And the teams, but here's how you look at it. You look at the most successful teams in all racing, whether it's Formula One, NASCAR, IndyCar, whatever. The one thing that the successful teams all have in common is they all go out, get their sponsorship, and they hire the best drivers. The ones that struggle go the opposite way.
Go the opposite direction.
Yeah, and some of it, I think it's just it's obviously lazy, but it's just the way it is.
Well, looking today, you did really well. You got a pass. You got the win for your class. How do you like the dirt? Do you think you had a shot at this big one?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of practicing and stuff. It's been fun. It's definitely going to be crazy because everybody's kind of all over the place, and the track changes so much. So I think the guy that can read the track, and obviously everybody's going to hit the wall at some point, and the guy that does that the least is probably going to be up front.
Okay, well, we've been waiting for your first Pack Major win for a while. Let's see if we can get one tonight.
Yeah, it'd be super ironic if it came on the dirt track.
Yeah, that would be pretty funny. Hey, good luck to you.
All right, thanks. Hopefully we'll talk to you at the end.
All right. Richie Hearn, my idol. I cannot believe sometimes I got to pinch myself when I realize what I'm doing here. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, and he won his heat today. We're going to talk to the driver that came in second. That's Brandon Chappelle. And he actually started on pole in that heat, so that was interesting that we missed that pass. And Brandon, since we didn't get to catch it on air, where did that pass happen that Richie got by you?
You guys got me?
Yep, we got a copy.
Okay, sorry about that. I bumped the wall. I was kind of watching my mirrors a little bit, making sure I didn't mess up Richie, and I didn't want to get kind of in his way. And I can't recall. I want to say maybe the bottom of 3 and 4, possibly. I tapped the wall a little bit, but that could be wrong.
And talking about that wall, we've seen a number of drivers who've let the car slip up and either graze it or just full-on slam into it. Has there been much of an advantage to ride that high line and try to kind of glance the wall up around there like we've seen, or do you expect that to come in once we get a more heavily used track in the A-main?
Definitely. At the beginning of the race, I don't think you want to be up there at all. You're just adding time to your line. But, we were just in that practice room where the track was probably the slickest I've ever felt it in any of the practice rooms. And you can ride that cushion up there and do really, really well. So we'll see if it plays out in the race. Justin
Prince here from the GSRC booth as well. Now, you mentioned the cushion in that, of course. The track does dry out a little bit as it goes on. What do you expect to have happen in the 100 lap main? Because while it did change a little bit in 20 laps, it is a much longer race, and you'll have a lot more to focus on handling wise as it dries out and becomes different cushion wise.
Well, my thoughts on it honestly is that running that faster kind of off the wall down to the very bottom and then out to the wall again when the track is good is in my opinion, a little bit more difficult to get that momentum. And when you get that cushion up high, it's honestly, for me, I think it's kind of just a flat out affair and working the wheel a little bit and keeping the thing, carrying its momentum through the top. So, it's slower, but for me, I feel like it's a little easier to manage the pace up there on that cushion.
Okay, and we have time for just one last quick question here, basically. What do you and your teammate plan to do here? You're in this A-main working together because, of course, you have a teammate who does have a little bit of IndyCar experience. It doesn't transfer as much on the dirt, but what do you and your team hope to plan to strategy-wise for the 100 lap main?
I think the biggest thing for us going into any race is just, be consistent, get good team points, and race each other as clean as possible, give each other room. And that goes for everyone out there. We try to give everyone as much room as possible and just be respectful and have a good race. It's a little bit difficult on the dirt. You don't really, you don't have as much control, obviously, as you do on asphalt. I wouldn't say there's really many, team orders or really any set plan except just to race a good consistent pace, stay out of trouble, and get the best result possible. We're not really trying to push anyone to the front of the field out of the whole team. So that's really our plan anytime we're going into a race.
Sounds like a good plan to try and just focus on racing and potentially work together for clean racing. Thank you very much, Brandon Chappelle, who finished second in his heat. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
No problem. As well, we are going to talk to Lynn Kinchlow real quick before we start off our LCQ, as Mr. Kinchlow had a fairly decent run as well in heat number 4. How do you feel about how you ran in the heat?
I would say for the first 2 laps, it was absolute sheer terror, as, starting at that 6th position and noticing, in the previous heats beforehand, it was really difficult to pass. So getting a free lunch, a gift, if you will, from the incident that happened directly in front of me was a blessing in disguise, because then I could just, just basically slide around, making sure that I didn't do anything stupid to screw my race up and hang out in that A main.
And now with the A main coming up in a little while, what do you hope to do differently compared to how you ran in the heats? Because of course it's a longer race, meaning it's going to end up, the track surface is going to end up being more drier, and it's going to be a lot more chaotic with 28 cars on the track.
I think I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing. Just stay, keep my nose clean, stay away from that wall, which in practice has had a habit of destroying my right front whenever I come anywhere near it. So I'm just gonna fill it up and throw it in there and see how it goes.
Sounds like a good strategy. Thank you very much, Lynn Kinchlow, as he prepares for the A main in a few minutes, as we will be right back in just a few moments here on GSRC with more coverage of tonight's action here on the Pack Majors.
All the moms think he's cute. He's not. All the dads wish he was their son. Sorry, Pops. Everybody else, they just want to see him blow stuff up. Satisfaction? Guaranteed.
Name's Tux, Agent Tux, and the pleasure, I'm sure, will be all yours.
Agent Tux is the world's most extravagant secret agent, and also its most mini. Become an insider today by subscribing to Agent Tux on YouTube and liking him on Facebook.
Fuel usage.
Averaging 0.10 gallons per lap.
Pit stop, add 5 gallons. Change right side only.
Hitbox in 10, 9, 8, 1. Bingo. 10-4, adding 5 gallons. Changing right side tires.
And welcome back to Eldora Speedway, where we're watching the Last Chance Qualifier coming up here for the Dirt Late Model Dream, presented by Agent Tux. This is round 9 of the Pacific Majors, and once again, you're watching it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We just watched the 5 heats that are determining the A-Main and as well who has to compete here in the upcoming Last Chance Qualifier. But before we get to that, let's give you a rundown of the drivers that did make it into the A-Main and don't have to worry about this upcoming race. Trevor Vavroski, Trevor Clement, Chad Barker, Brian Barnes, Richie Hearn, Brandon Chappelle, Travis Henderson, Joshua Wolf, Lionel Callisto, Dee Palmer, Rob Gall, Nick Kuhn, Wayne Hutchison, Ryan Worley, Ray Partridge, William Fletcher, Lynn Kitchlow, Brian Bennett, Thomas Lovelady, Jared Morgan, Ernie Ludwig, Michael Thompson, Clark Archer, Jeremy Tester, and Jeremy Leto are your transfer drivers who will make it into the A-Main for sure. That's 25 drivers. And in this Last Chance Qualifier, Justin, only 3 are going to advance onto the A-Main.
Yeah, only 3 are going to advance, and we have a lot more cars on the track that you have to battle with for those spots. 24 cars are going to be on the grid for your Last Chance Qualifier, and some of these drivers were very competitive in their heats. They just had some bad luck, like Garrett Halsey in the first heat. The number 1 qualifier had probably the worst luck possible with what happened on the last lap on the backstretch. He's going to be hungry to get a position. Carl Burke had struggles on the first lap of his heat. He's going to be hungry. Bob Beltrami, they're going to be trying to take some bites out of him, yes, like some salami, but he's also going to be competing. We got a lot of drivers who have a strong chance of making it, but only 3 advance.
Indeed, and as you said, hungry drivers can breed some aggressive moves. We could see some unpredictability amongst the top, desperate to get onto that podium as they work their way around for the warm-up.
Joe, I'll tell you who the guys are happy is not in there. There's 2 names. Garrett Halsey, they're hoping he doesn't qualify. And then they're hoping that Agent Tux doesn't get in there too, because that kid, have you seen that kid? I bet you he's one heck of a driver.
Oh, you have to be to aspire. And look at this. Mike Willett, I just realized Mike Willett's paint. I hadn't noticed this with the Agent Tux scheme on the number 86. That's wonderful. I don't know if it's possible to get his crew in here as well, his pit crew. I'm curious to see if he put tuxes on them. I know a few people have done that before, and there are paint schemes that you can get for your pit crews. It looks like we won't be able to get it, but we'll keep an eye out if he does go into the pits, if we can see what his guys are wearing down there amongst the tires. Meanwhile, Mark McFadden currently running 11th here in the warm-up, and Bill, this will give us a little bit of an idea, this warm-up, of where everybody sits, because we haven't seen all of these guys mixed up together necessarily yet.
No, but I bet you there's a lot of guys wishing that this was longer than 25 laps. We'll see how that plays out. We talked to some of the drivers. They said 25 laps was plenty of time to get it done. I guess this is a pretty big field if you're looking to be in the top 3.
Certainly is. It lowers your chances a lot lower than what we had with only 10 drivers and 5 advancing in our heat races, meaning the pressure is on. So as the clock ticks down, there we see the winner's circle here at Eldora that someone is going to stand on after all is said and done. We still have a lot of racing left to go here on the Global Sim Racing channel to determine who takes home that trophy.
If it means anything, Garrett Halsey is your top practicer so far, at least in warm-ups. And there's Carl Burke also doing very well at 15, just about 15 flat for those guys.
They are now going to be gridded up, so let's go through our field. Mark Herzog is going to be started on the pole with Scott Wambaugh starting on the outside of the first row.
Brian McGreevy and Mark Lossing make up row 2.
Mark McFadden on the inside of row 3, starting alongside Brian Brandon.
Jimbo Pfeiffer starts in 7th with Chris Branson beside him on the outside of row 4.
Number 9 is Mark Rudiker and Drew Lalonde, Mr. Excitement, in 10th.
Starting off with the next part, which is row 6, Bob Beltrami Salami starts off on the inside. Claude Bovell starting 12th.
Matt Gilder is going to be starting 13th, with Gary Nichols going to be starting in 14th on the outside of row 7.
Garrett Halsey all the way back in 15th position. Got a long way to go in a short time to get there. All ribbons and curls in the 16th spot, Joshua Gardner.
Aaron Stowe, after having some struggles in his heat, he'll start off 17th. Jeremy Morrison alongside him on the outside.
Carl Burke and the Popsicle Machine going to start in 19th toward the back of the field, and all dressed up but with plenty of places to go is Mike Willett in 20th.
Looking pretty slick in that tuxedo. C.R. Reed and Dwayne White in 21st and 22nd. Justin?
And in 23rd and 24th to finish it off, Tom Drelling and Stephen Paulson. For this very large grid, the fireworks are going off, and it should be a lot of fireworks to get into that top 3.
One more pace lap since we have a little bit of time. Bill, who do you think has got it to make it into the A main?
Well, since Agent Tux isn't racing, boy, that's a long way to go for my guy down there in 15th. I like Brian McGreevy. He's in 3rd. Let's see if he can get there.
Quick pick, Justin?
My quick pick is once again the top runner in the warm-ups and in the race, really, Garrett Halsey.
Oh, he's got a lot of faith in him climbing through the field, but Mark Herzog starts on the pole, takes the green here as they accelerate down into turn 1. A lot more cars than what these guys might be used to. Can they get through clean? No, a big pileup already in the middle of the pack.
Halsey involved in that one right away.
Oh.
See that Claude Belval was the one that got turned around first here. Looks like it started in front of him with Drew Lalonde getting into the back of a car, getting up on the outside. That was Chris Branson.
Yep. Chris Branson got in the wall. The number 3 of Lalonde got into him, and then all heck breaks loose. It's an octopus putting on his socks back there. You can't tell what's going on. The thing's going everywhere.
And did I hear you right? Did you say Halsey got involved in it?
Yep.
Oof.
Can I pull back my pick?
Nope. No take backsies.
Yeah, because that was very close, actually, to get involved. He might have gotten a little bit of back damage, but I think he barely got through it.
Well, it's unfortunately already taken a number of drivers off the track into the pits. Josh Gardner, Matt Gelder, Drew Lalonde, and Dwayne White have all taken it back up to their hauler. Unfortunately, they're not going to be getting into the B main with them already going A main, getting into a lap down situation at this point.
Yeah, Justin, you're right. He just got clipped at the very back. I thought he was going to get turned. I just kind of assumed it. My parents taught me never to assume. And yeah, the 81 looks pretty good. And actually, that might have been a blessing in disguise, as he was able to vulture several spots. And now the 81 is up to 11th spot.
Yeah, he got a lot of spots from that chaos that happened in front of him. An independent driver team-wise, but he also, like we've mentioned a couple times, was the top qualifier, was the leader in the first split before his bad luck. He almost had the bad luck happen again, so I think he's getting some horseshoes ready to go. He needs some luck still. It's still a long way to go. 21 laps to go as we go green.
Small correction. They will start double file on the restarts here and the last chance qualifier. Oh, and already they're getting a little tangled up in the back. Everybody's trying to find themselves some track, and they managed to get through.
The 81 gets 2 more spots.
Oh! He almost lost it on Lossing, and he gets by. Lossing's in the wall.
Halsey up to 6th now. 3 more spots to go for him to advance. We got a caution.
Oh man, he is There is a bull in the china shop right now in the form of Garrett Halsey. Yeah, Jared, you saw some of it. That you may want to just watch that whole last lap.
I think Gary Nichols was the cause of the caution. As he tried to come into pit lane, he ran into the barrels, and with him stopped on the track, it considered it a dangerous situation, so iRacing stewards have thrown the caution there. You can see him finally eventually getting in. But that causes us yet another restart.
And what do you expect when it's the last chance qualifier? Everyone wants to get into that A main. They want to be in the big show. So they're putting in the most aggressive driving we've seen all night, especially Halsey, because it's been like an absolute wrecking ball, shoving cars into the walls and pushing them. Like, that is something I think I wasn't expecting to that extent.
An update, Gary Nichols did get a black flag after the first caution. I didn't quite hear from the stewards what the reasoning was for that. Gary Nichols already receiving a penalty. Your order of the top 10 as we get ready to go back to green: Mark Herzog, Brian McGreevy, Scott Wanbaugh in third, Mark McFadden in fourth, Jimbo Pfeiffer fifth, Garrett Hulsey has worked his way up to sixth, Brian Grandin seventh, Carl Burke eighth, Bob Beltrami ninth, and Chris Branson runs out your top 10.
And I think Halsey is getting some bad luck here. His ping for internet has gone up to 841. Almost lost connection there, but it looks like to be stabilizing a little bit as we go green.
Herzog leads the way once again. A good jump for that number 57. Getting himself clear of the chaos as Jimbo Pfeiffer gets swamped. And Pfeiffer gets tipped down to the bottom, and he runs into Aaron Stowe. Stowe with yet more bad luck out here.
Well,
watch the replay.
Well, he lost like we were both just about to say, just lost control. Pfeiffer just bounced off the 81, basically pushing his way through the field, and Aaron still got collected in it.
Yeah, coming off the corner, just washed up a little bit wide, and you can see there, just up to your right, nowhere to go, and the double lot is suddenly in his nose. Now, I'm not sure, as Jimbo Pfeiffer is actually retiring, I'm not sure if I heard right. I thought maybe they said something about the 86 being investigated for rough driving under the last yellow. Was that correct? Did I hear wrong?
That possibly might be Garrett Halsey, and 81 is Halsey, because Michael Ouellette is one of the organizers for this series.
Well, Mike's not above the law, and he'll be the first to come on and say that. So that doesn't really have bearing on whether or not he gets investigated for that.
Well, if they're watching the same thing that I've been watching, rough driving is putting it lightly.
All right, they're getting double file once again. Halsey's still holding on to that sixth place. We caught a bit of it on the last restart, on the first restart, I believe it was, that Halsey, as you mentioned, got into the side of someone. But right now, his concern is his internet connection, which is blinking.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
In and out. That is not good in dirt racing.
And these yellow flags probably aren't helping him much either. These are all passing opportunities he's losing. Okay, Joe.
Green flag is out as Herzog runs away with McGreevy trying to run around the outside to hold on to that second position. More cars getting at each other in the mid-pack, but everybody straightens it out. Brian Grandin comes out the best of them into fourth, but we got a car tipped up into the outside. That's Mark McFadden. More cars going around to the back. Carl Burke was the one that got turned around in that. Bit of a chain reaction.
Yeah, Halsey, I think, turned him around there as Halsey just came down on him and Burke just went around. Just, that is the best way to put it. Just simply what exactly happened. It's just, I think Halsey went in a little hot and just spun him around.
The 81 turned him. I don't know how else to say it.
He's had to be aggressive, Bill, and aggressive he has been, but he's been black flagged now, so he is being penalized. So I think the stewards have seen enough of that.
I think Halsey is still a little frustrated from what happened in Heat 1. And unfortunately, he's letting that get to him because he's driving so aggressively right now. No offense to him, but it's so aggressive. It is crazy aggressive right now. Ridiculously aggressive.
Yeah, I don't know if it's frustration or just panic. It's just a 25 laps, and he knows he's fast enough. It was entertaining.
Here's the thing, Bill. 10 laps to go already.
Yeah.
We are well past halfway into this thing, and now he's going to have to serve this black flag that's likely going... And he's trying to appeal about this black flag, but he's going to have to serve that. That's going to put him a lap down. 81 clearly not happy with how this night is going. We might see some frustrations expressed post-race.
So the 45 now, this is Scott Wanbaugh sitting in that transfer position, but he's under challenge by that yellow car, and sure enough, on the top side, I think it's going to go. Look at that. Wanbaugh's going to lose the spot, Joe. It's going to go to Grandin.
Brandon now up in the bubble position as Halsey goes around the outside. Is he going to serve this black flag? If he doesn't soon, he's going to be removed from the track automatically by the iRacing service. Aggressively, he's trying to get down to the bottom once again, and he's now in the bubble position.
He still has that black flag, though, so technically I don't think he will be. You have to come in within 3 laps, or else your laps will not be counted, as we got a
The yellow
caution.
flag is out. That was just in front of our leaders, some of our tail cars getting turned around.
Some of the cars are getting collected now. Scott Wombo is one of them.
CR Reed was involved in that. Oh, and that happened in front of him, actually. Looks like a number of cars getting turned around. That turned Reed around. That was Jeremy Morrison who started it. He didn't really start it, I'd say. You'd give that, wow. If we get an onboard of Carl Berg, and here's the checkup of our leaders. We're going to watch after this as they come barreling through. The caution has just come out. And some cars suffering some problems. Now, Berg, boy, Bill, he sends this one in. We have to back up just a little bit more here.
Yeah, this is desperation. This is, man,
It's going to be down into turn 1. He sends it 3 wide. He gets an opportunity. He has to take it, I guess you could say, but whew, it did not go good for everybody else behind him.
Now this is interesting. You have Mom and Dad McGreevy. If you're watching at home, your boy is sitting in 4th position right now with 4 laps to go. But one of the drivers ahead of him is Garrett Halsey. And we're not sure if there's a black flag been issued for him or not. He's still out there.
Unfortunately for the number 81, he's been told by the stewards if he does not serve his black flag, he's being kicked from the server. They are giving his last warning.
And this matters. There's some guys hearing this, and one of those is Brian McGreevy. And it kind of matters right now. McGreevy almost would prefer this to have him serve it because that would move him to 3rd. There he goes.
He's gone.
Wow.
Now, I wonder if they will re-grid this here, or poor McGreevy's going to have to start.
It'll stay where it is. It's going green right now as Mark Herzog leads Brian Grandin. Brian McGreevy gets bumped up now that the 81 has been removed. Can we stay green to the end? We've gotten very few green flag laps here in the last chance qualifier. Everybody makes it through this first few corners.
Beltrami back in the 14, that kind of orange 14 machine running in 4th, doing everything he can to get up to McGreevy.
Final lap, no yellows from here on out. Mark Herzog leads the way. Grandin holding on to that 2nd place. Beltrami doing everything he can to get up into that 3rd spot, but it's not going to happen as it's going to be Herzog, Grandin, and McGreevy that advance to your A main.
Woohoo! Wow.
A good finish.
It was dramatic, and it was controversial here for the last chance qualifier, Justin.
That is the best way to put it, really, as Herzog winning the last chance qualifier here, but we did have a lot of aggressive driving and some controversial moments, yes, but thankfully it was a good finish for the final 2-lap shootout, really. There's gonna have to be a few things straightened out after this though, I think.
So let's go through our finishing order. Top 3 are the ones that really matter. Mark Herzog, Brian Grandin, Brian McGreevy, your 3 that will make it to the A main. Bob Beltrami is going to go into the B main. Unfortunately for him, just outside of his chance to make it into the big show. Mark McFadden finishes in 5th. Tom Dreiling will finish in 6th. Mark Redeker in 7th with Chris Branson following home in 8th. Scott Wanbaugh comes home in 9th, and running out the top 10, Bill, is Claude Belval.
Then your next set of 10, Aaron Stowe, Mark Lossing, Jeremy Morrison, Stephen Paulison, Mike Willett in the 15th spot. You're going to see him over on our friends covering that one. Garrett Halsey, not sure where they're going to put him. He's 3 laps down. iRacing has him in 16th position. CR Reed, Carl Burke back there in 18th, 19th, and 20th. Jimbo Pfeiffer, Gary Nichols, and I'll just finish this out. There's only a few left. Drew Lalonde, Matt Gelder, Joshua Gardner, and then the last one out there, Dwayne White.
And with that, we are going to head to break before we bring you the finale, the A main, here on the Global Sim Racing channel for the Dirt Late Model Dream presented by Agent Tux. Don't go away.
All the moms think he's cute. He's not. All the dads wish he was their son. Sorry, Pops. Everybody else, they just want to see him blow stuff up. Satisfaction guaranteed.
Name's Tux, Agent Tux, and the pleasure, I'm sure, will be all yours.
Agent Tux is the world's most extravagant secret agent, and also its most mini. Become an insider today by subscribing to Agent Tux on YouTube and liking him on Facebook.
Fuel usage.
Averaging 0.10 gallons per lap.
Pit stop, add 5 gallons. Change right side only.
Hitbox in 10, 9, 8, 1. Bingo. 10-4, adding 5 gallons. Changing right side tires.
Welcome back to Eldora Speedway, home of the Dirt Late Model Dream presented by Agent Tux. And we watched the Last Chance qualifier just before this break. It gave us plenty to talk about, that's for sure. Before we get to all the controversy, though, let's talk about the Governor's Cup Championship. It's one of your favorites, Bill.
That's right. There were rumors that we weren't going to cover this one anymore. In fact, I got an email from Jerry Brown, the governor in California. He said, hey, I'm 85 years old. I don't have a lot of time left for me. Could you at least cover the Governor's Cup? Jerry, I got it for you, buddy. Here we go. Now, Northwest, they are just crushing this thing. They got 7,000 points. And you know what? This is really the home of the series, so it's no surprise to see them out there. They've been strong every season. But what is interesting is the teams behind them. Look at this. Joe's club, the West, who was always like the weak sister of all of these, now sitting up there in second position. Good job for them. California also making a move as we are up a spot into third. Jerry Brown happy about that. Look at this, the Lone Star State dropping. They think they're so hot, but now they drop down in the fourth position. Our director, Amjad Yaman from Texas, and he can't come over the mic to argue with me right now, so we just talk about Texas in a slump. Then the new clubs that have come in there, Canada and Great Plains, go fifth and sixth. So let's go ahead and look next at the actual leaders. We'll give a few names, leaders of each club in there. And there you see the Northwood. You got Brian Bennett. No surprise to see him in there for Northwest. And then you can see all of those guys as you continue down there. Blake Reynolds, Michael Thompson, Lionel Callisto for California. What we don't get to talk a lot about is Canada and the Great Plains. Claude Belval, the French-Canadian, they're leading that Great North. And the Great Plains from Matthew Thornhorse. So I haven't heard much from Matthew this round. Joe, when you called him out, I don't remember seeing him in the 25 that made it. I don't think he's here with us tonight.
I don't believe so. Driver that did make it, though, as we are getting close to the warm-up, so let's grab him while we still can, is Jared Morgan. He advanced during the heats and will be in our A main today. Jared Morgan running the number 96, of course. Jared, you didn't have to mess with that Last Chance qualifying, but from what you saw out on the track, what are your thoughts on some of the racing that we just witnessed?
Definitely messy. Not going to lie about that. A lot of good racing, other than I think that 81 car, I think it was being a little bit more aggressive than I think it needed to be.
Now, taking what you can from that, with there being more cars out on track, give you an idea of what it's like compared to the only 10 cars that we had in most of the heats today. How does that inform your driving, having so many more around you at once?
It just tells me I need to be a little bit more backed off. I've only got one monitor on this thing, so I'm pretty blind to most of what's going on around me.
And we talked about that a little bit on the broadcast, the differences between VR, 3 monitors, and 1 monitor. How do you deal with the lack of visibility off to the side as you're sliding?
Pray?
Yeah, that's about all you can do sometimes. I drive with a single monitor as well. And I'm not sure, how much experience have you had here out on the dirt? Is this your first time running it, or have you run any of the other circuits, the 4 that iRacing has here at the start?
This is my first week actually racing. My first race in dirt was actually last night in one of our test races, so this is the first time I've actually been full-fledged dirt racing ever.
Have you tried any of the other tracks yet, such as Volusia?
A little bit when it first came out. Wasn't real happy with any of them. I think the one that I could get to drive was the Street Stock USA Speedway.
Ah, that's a fun one. Absolutely. Well, we asked another driver their prediction. What about you? Where are you aiming to finish when all is said and done here in the A main?
Does On My Wheels count as an answer?
It can for me. Bill, Justin, you guys got any questions for Morgan before we let him go?
Well, let me ask this. Do you think, we talked to some of the drivers, they didn't see the track changing much in a few cars on only 20 laps in the heat race. Do you have any? Well, I guess you probably don't, as you only race a little bit. You worried about the track changing on you as the race goes on?
I'll be honest, I am. During the practice session we had just before we came in here, the track was all completely rubbered. They're telling me, especially Lynn's saying, we're not going to get that extensive, but it's going to be a major change in a big hurry, I think.
Well, we'll watch and we'll learn along with you.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, you just have to keep it calm, basically. So, how do you hope to keep calm in this race as we're getting ready to go getting ready to grid up in the next few minutes?
I've taken an ibuprofen, so that'll help.
Okay, that sounds like a good strategy because you did sound a little nervous during warm-ups a few hours ago, but you're now in the A main. Good luck to you, Jarrett. Hopefully that does work, the ibuprofen, and hopefully you have a good run with a lot of the traffic.
Thank you, Justin. Appreciate it.
Should be able to pass the urine test, I think, after the race with that one.
Right.
I think you're okay.
That was Jared
They
Morgan.
don't test me for ibuprofen.
There we go. Yeah. That was Jared Morgan, who's going to be racing in the AMA in just a few moments here. We're going to try and see if we can get Ray Partridge, who's also going to be racing in the number 88 here in our finale today up in the A main, giving him some time to get ready, get mic'd up if he so chooses. But as we wait for him, I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on what we saw from that number 81. Do you think any drivers, after seeing him literally removed from the race before it was over, do you think that's going to cool a lot of them out?
I don't know. I understand where he was coming from. We talked about it beforehand. He was put behind the 8 ball. He certainly was fast. And of course, we're talking about Halsey. I understand that. And what I like was that the race steward saw it, and then finally they had to make a call on it. What took me a little bit aback, and I probably attacked this conversation from a former series organizer, is, man, when you get the call to get off the track, you kind of got to do that just out of sportsmanship for not only you but also for poor McGreevy, who was back there, mom and dad watching, worried that their son was going to make the split.
Yeah, because it was kind of reckless really with how he was driving, because that wasn't just aggressive driving, that was driving like a crazy person. No offense to him, because that is a way where you earn a reputation if you keep driving like that. I understand it was the last chance qualifier, and he was probably frustrated and had been wanting to, in desperation, want to get into this A main, but that was not the way to go about it. If he would have went the way he was running without basically turning into a bumper car, I think it would have been okay, and he'd probably be in this A main, and we'd be talking about how he has a strong shot of going to the back. Now, we're talking about how the emotions, I think, got to the best of him, and the panic got to the best of him, and it could end up hurting him in the long run with the Pacific Majors.
Which would be sad to see, unfortunately, if this causes us to lose a driver. We hope that's not the case. We'd love to see the 81 back. In the meantime, we are going to talk to Ray Partridge, who in fact is going to be gridding up in 15th here in the A main. And Ray, it's going to be a lot of cars out on what starts as a fresh track, but it's certainly not going to end that way. Has that informed how you set your car up for this race?
Oh, I don't know. I'm more concerned about how the track's going to be later on.
Exactly, and that's what I'm curious about. Does the setup of the car, can you set it up for being stronger in the later of the race, or can you not really affect that with how you tweak it?
We got in that practice server that was up earlier. There was probably 45, 50 minutes on the track, and the thing was burned up already. So Dogbear guys, we played around and did some adjustments to try to make it drive a little better on that. Hopefully it doesn't get that bad, or I think everybody's going to be in trouble.
And speaking of which, with you mentioning the Dogbear team, that's another team that has really come on strong here in the Pacific Majors. Do you guys mostly use the same setup? Does everybody kind of tweak it to their liking, or is it one shared one between everyone?
For the most part, yeah, it's probably everybody works to get to one setup. There might be a few tweaks here and there between each of us, but for the most part, yeah, we run about the same.
Bill, you have any questions?
15th, a long way to go. What are you going to be happy with, Ray?
15th or better.
Okay, that seems fair.
That's a good answer. All right, that's Ray Partridge, the number 88, who's going to be starting 15th today. Best of luck to you, Ray.
Thank you, guys.
And up next, we are going to talk to Ryan Worley. If I'm remembering correctly, finished third in his heat coming through here. And Justin, do you have any questions for Ryan?
Yes, Ryan, of course, coming in off a very good run in his heat. Heat, what do you hope to see when you enter tonight's A main in just a few minutes?
Well, for me, mostly, it's just going to be trying to stay clean for the first half, I guess, for the first quarter or so. I mean, when that track really changes, it's getting really slicking up. It's going to become a pedal fest. And if you have a loose setup, it's going to become even looser. But thankfully, with the lowering of fuel, as we run, the car will tighten up gradually a little bit, which will really help out on the slick track.
Yeah, I was just about to ask about how you're going to handle the difference with the track, with, of course, it being a longer run, 5 times longer than the heats. Heats essentially, of course, I'm trying to think how exactly to phrase this, but of course you have, from my understanding, you're using a special controller, and that for how you drive with iRacing. I mean, how challenging is it to do that, especially with dirt where precision is key with how you handle and brake and so forth? I apologize if that is an out-of-line question.
That's not out of line. Actually, I'm one of the fortunate ones to be on iRacing that has a disability, because I'm able to actually use my left leg. It's not full length. It's about maybe from your knee down to your foot. So I can use my pedals, normal pedals, on a box. I just have them elevated so I can use them. And then I'm actually running a normal Driving Force GT because my customized wheel that I did receive broke around the end of 2015. So I'm kind of relegated down, and just kind of dirt racing actually helps a little bit, because the wheel I did receive is like a Le Mans style steering wheel, a prototype style. So for a dirt track where you really got to be moving the wheel around a lot, it's not really helpful for me, at least. But when I'm with the full circumference of a wheel, or I have the ability to kind of move my hand around on the top of the wheel, like in the middle of the turns when I'm having to put counter steer in, so it really helps. And then everything else I have down the buttons, like shifting, I have set up to 2 buttons on the wheel to shift up and down and whatnot. So the only downside is I can't brake and gas at the same time, which sometimes with these cars is kind of an important thing to do, especially when the track is starting to get beat up a little bit.
Ryan, how many monitors you running? You doing it on one? You're doing it on multiples?
I'm doing it on one.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. Do you ever go ahead and do the look right thing that I can never do without putting it in the wall, or do you just pretty much kind of get a feel for where the guys are?
Well, kind of get a feel. I mean, I have one arm, so if I take my hand off
That's
the wheel
right.
at any time
There you
to reach for the button, it's going to be kind of disastrous, possibly. But mostly I just kind of know they're there, and I just keep to my line. Even if I know that I might be clear, I still hold it down. But thankfully for this A main, I may have a spotter, which will be very helpful for me. So let's hoping for that.
You're good. You're good in 13th. What's going to make you happy when it's all said and done?
If I can come out with the top 5.
Top 5. Okay.
I'd be happy with the win, definitely, but I'd be really happy with the top 5, especially with 28 cars on this track and how slick it's going to get. So I think if everyone gets in a groove for the first part, it'll be kind of clean, but when the track slicks up, it's going to become pretty hairy for a lot of people. Especially if that top line becomes strong.
Pass who you can on the track, vulture who you can when you have to, man. So good luck to you.
Thank you.
Well, that was Ryan Worley, who's going to be starting 13th in our A main today. With that, we are going to take a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Stick around, because up next, we have the A main finale and the Dirt Late Model Dream presented by Agent Tux.
All the moms think he's cute. He's not. All the dads wish he was their son. Sorry, Pops. Everybody else, they just want to see him blow stuff up. Satisfaction? Guaranteed.
Name's Tux. Agent Tux. And the pleasure, I'm sure, will be all yours.
Agent Tux is the world's most extravagant secret agent, and also its most mini. Become an insider today by subscribing to Agent Tux on YouTube and liking him on Facebook.
Fuel usage.
Averaging 0.10 gallons per lap.
Pit stop, add 5 gallons. Change right side only.
Hitbox in 10, 9, 8, 1. Bingo. 10-4, adding 5 gallons. Changing right side tires.
Welcome back to Eldora. We're going to watch the A main now, right up to the checkered flag. They're in warm-up currently here at Eldora Speedway for the Dirt Late Model Dream presented by Agent Tuck's 28 drivers are going to take place here in the top split. If your favorite driver is down in the B main, you can go check them out on Off Camber TV. And as we wait for them to finish the warm-up, we're going to talk to a driver who caused a little bit of controversy in the last chance qualifier, and that was Garrett Halsey, who was unfortunately black flagged before the race was over. Garrett, just a quick reminder, we are a family show before we let you talk, but we wanted to get your take on what was happening in that last chance qualifier and your approach.
Just started 15th and kind of went into that race thinking, you know, you have a shot at this, but, you know, you have to make the move. When somebody gives you an inch, you just have to take it. And, you know, with these late models and just, you know, these tight racing, you know, stuff like that can easily happen. I was also just throwing it into the corner, and also remember that one caution where we thought it was intentional. I was just setting the corner and too much, and he came up to my left front, and just there he went around. You know, I don't want to wreck anybody intentionally because I know that's what it looked like, but, you know, I was just trying to get up to the top 3, and I made it happen, and that's, you know, that's where I gave my feedback because
it was exciting, that's for sure. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? How old are you? What's your story?
I am Garrett Halsey. I am 15 years old from Lone Jack, Missouri. Yeah.
From Missouri.
Yeah. I do come from a dirt background. I do run 600cc micro sprints on a weekly basis throughout the year. So that's where I get my racing background.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, from Missouri, it's the show me state, and I guess they showed you the door there at the very end when they needed you to leave. Hey, it was fun to watch your race. Good luck to you. We hope to see you again later on in some of the other Pac Major races.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
That was Garrett Holsey, who unfortunately was black flagged before he could finish the last chance qualifier. The stewards thought maybe he was a little bit too aggressive. We wanted to give Garrett a chance to speak for himself here on the air after. We were a little bit critical of him, but unfortunately it was what it was, and we had to read it like it is. Yeah. So with 2 minutes left and the warm-up, we're going to see how it is in this race.
Now, how they've gridded these is Mike Willett has serpentined it. So the winners of the heats that we saw in order, Borowski's going to be on the pole, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then they take the drivers in second position and reverse it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's why you're going to see Richie Hearn's going to be the winner of the fifth heat, going to be in fifth. And then Brandon Chappell, the driver who finished second in that last heat, going to be in sixth position. And then they go all the way down like a snake all the way through.
Justin, you had a point that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I just wanted to also mention with this as well that it's going to be a very much more competitive, I think. It's going to be a longer race, yes, but as we've seen with the last chance qualifier, it could get very chaotic with as many cars as there are on the track for this A main. And we have a lot of good drivers here, like Richie Hearn, Brian Bennett, for example. You have multiple winners, of course, in these heats, like Dee Palmer, you have Brandon Chappell. The names go on and on, so it could be anyone's race now, especially, as you mentioned, with the serpentine start, making it so it is more complicated with how things are going to start off with just about a minute to go before we grid up.
You know, you name an event the last chance qualifier, and that's a common name for these things. It kind of just inspires a different type of attitude, that kind of desperation, last chance. Maybe they should think about renaming those things to just one more race just for fun and see how you do. Maybe it would work better.
Friendly, fun rainbow time?
Yeah, friendly, fun rainbow race. I
use that phrasing for a few things. I'm not going to go into details, but okay. Let's have a race to call, shall we?
All right, we're looking at some of our competitors. And one thing that we're going to see out here, Bill, that we didn't really get to see in these shorter races so far, 20 laps and 25 laps with a lot fewer cars, is I think we're going to see a little bit of rubbering in, which is going to be different from just drying the track out.
And if you heard, and shame on you if you didn't pay attention to some of our mid-race interviews there between sessions, you could hear the drivers, the guys who weren't as familiar with the dirt saying, yeah, I am concerned about it. And this is where you might see, I'm going to touch on Darrell Waltrip, some goers and comers. I didn't get hit by lightning, Joe. I'm okay.
I think you're fine. Checkered flag is out. We're going to get gridded up here in a moment for the A main, the finale here for the Dirt Late Model Dream, presented by Agent Tux. Trevor Vofrosky is going to be starting on the pole, followed by Trevor Clement on the outside of the front row.
Chad Barker and Brian Barnes in row 2.
Richie Hearn starts alongside Brandon Chappell in the third row.
In 7th, it'll be Travis Henderson, and in 8th, Joshua Wolf.
The little train, Lionel Callisto and Dee Palmer, 9th and 10th.
Rob Gow will start off in 11th spot alongside Nick Cohn.
Ryan Worley starts in 13th with Wayne Hutchison beside him in the 14th position.
We just talked to him on an interview. Ray Partridge going to be inside of William Fletcher.
Lynn Kinchlow will start off in the row following them in 17th. Brian Bennett, the Legends Division leader, in 18th.
Thomas Lovelady, winner of our first round, will be starting in 19th. Jared Morgan next to him in the 20th position.
Ernie Flip Your Ludwig in the blackjack position. Michael Thompson in the double duck spot.
Clark Archer starts off in 23rd position alongside the Canadian Jeremy Tester.
Jeremy Leto, we were corrected on some of our pronunciation on his name, 25th, and Mark Herzog, 26th.
Brian Grandin, that's Brian with a Y, is going to be inside of Brian with an eye, McGreevy. And there's your 28 drivers.
Going to be hectic out there under the lights here with a fresh track laid back down pace truck, wheeling them around for the second warm-up lap, and then we go green for 100 laps here around Eldora Speedway, this legendary half-mile dirt track, playing host to this virtual version of the late model dream.
Vrosky said in his interview that he's good, but only for a limited amount of time. Let's see how long he can stay out in front.
Clement could be liking what he hears if that's the case as he gets the green flag. Trevor Vrosky, how about Brian Barnes slipping up the outside but can't do anything with his run? Oh, and a great run off the corner for Trevor Clement down to the inside. Already we have a lead change even on the first lap.
And Barnes actually had a run. He could have made it, but he ran out of real estate, couldn't get it done. Great racing going on. Barnes gets into the back of Vrosky.
Oh, Holsitter is around. Yellow flag is out. Everybody
and then
tries to avoid the car turned around.
29 glancing by him. That was Clark Archer, Justin.
Yeah, and Jared Morgan, Kachow, make that Kachow as he ran into the back of Archer with that. Wow.
Rob Gall also involved.
Vrosky, you're going to see here, it looks like he's clear, and there goes the 29. Just has to sit there and wait and hope that everybody misses him. He was down low, so there was good chances, but unfortunately, with it being so close to the start, everyone packed together, he just couldn't stay out of the trouble. Going to watch on board Archer, who gets him. Suddenly, there's that car at the bottom of the track. Oh, absolutely could not see around the corner at all.
I know Vrosky is disappointed with that, but really, he got himself into trouble. Nobody turned him. He really was struggling early.
Yeah, and
now, they said that it was a self-spin, too. I'm not sure.
Yeah, well,
I'm going to go back and look at it one more time.
Barnes got into him, but Vrosky was way off, was really struggling to keep pace. You see Barnes in the blue machine there.
Barnes kind of washed up just a little bit from what I was watching there. I mean, that would have been the natural line, though, if he had not come down. So, yeah, I think the losing control contributed it from Vrosky. But I don't know. That's I wouldn't say that was a self-spin from Vrosky, at least from my perspective.
No, definitely not a self-spin, but it was off the pace. I think that's if I was defending Brian Barnes, that would be my story.
Well,
Your
this
Honor.
is going to change our top four. Clement, Barker, Hearn, Barnes going to start us off as we come back to green. Double file. Starting on lap 5, once again, our first restart of the night, Trevor Clement getting himself a good run. Chad Barker up around the outside, using the momentum. A couple cars sliding up into the wall.
And we got a caution already behind them, as it looks like a few cars went around, including Jeremy Tester.
That was Wolf, I think, the first one to get up into the outside. He was helped, I believe.
I think it was the 17. Wayne Hutchinson maybe starts it.
And that is Kinchlow who went around, that brought out the yellow, and then Tester barely avoided it around, and Kinchlow drove a bit backwards and had the pace car drive through him. So that could have almost been disaster trying to turn it back around.
Yeah, you know, right, it was Kinchlow. There was some checking up going on. You're absolutely right.
And Lovelady ended up bumping to the back of him with that checkup, in fact.
Well, the first lap or two seemed like a good sign for the racing, and then now we've had some caution fever with two in quick succession here at Eldora. If you're just joining us, this is the Pacific Major Round 9, their first time ever doing dirt, with a mix of experience out there, some proving a little bit more adept than others.
I'm going to make this next point, and I hope I hope I can do it with a cheerful tone in my voice. There is a fast repair tonight.
Yes, unfortunately, great for drivers, can sometimes be a cause of a few more cautions here for us in the booth as it keeps more drivers out on track. We can hope that that is not the case tonight as drivers gain more experience now. Did they just give Brian Barnes an end of line?
Yeah, look
Yes, they did, and Jeremy Lado, and it looks like a delayed green as well, as it looks like a couple cars having to stop while pulling to the back, but Yeah, that is involving that first caution that they initially ruled a self-spin. Now they're sending those two to the back.
Well, I tried to lay out a case for Barnes. Apparently the race stores weren't buying it.
George Wood disagreed.
Yeah.
All right, I believe we're going green this time by Clement, Barker, Hearn, Callisto, your top four, front two rows. What can they do? We saw Barker try to get himself a run around the outside on the start. He looked like maybe he could pull it off, but not quite. The number 51, one of the typical oval drivers in this series, very strong on them, knows what he's doing on these restarts. Green flag is out, and a good jump from Trevor Clement. Coming up the inside is Richie Hearn, seeing if he can slip into second place from third. Doesn't have the speed on the bottom side as the 51 carries his momentum. Maybe he's going to look for the inside, gives a little bit of a tap to our leader, but they both stay pointed forward as Barker slides up high to try to recover. That's going to give second place to Richie Hearn.
That's exciting.
A great start right now. Everyone seeming to get some good lines. A couple cars bouncing off the walls, but everybody keeping it green so far. Everyone just slowly working their way towards the bottom.
A lot of side-by-side racing in the mid-pack, but everybody giving each other plenty of space. Your order now: Clement, Hearn, Barker, Henderson for your top four, all single file. Callisto being challenged by Chappelle, though.
Ryan Woolley running in 8th position, up 5 spots.
And it looks like they got some trouble in turn 2. Caution out again. That is Mark Herzog involved. And it bottled up there as it looks like he might have spun Brian Gradden, who just had come out of the pits.
I think it's the 60 car of Lovelady involved in that one as well.
It looks like 2 separate incidents here.
I think Lovelady started up front.
And Herzog.
Yeah.
I apologize, geez, similar color cars between the 08 and the 60, but...
Then Rob Gall in the 31 got sideways and he kind of pancakes his way in there.
How about Wayne Hutchison? I wonder if we have time to get an onboard here. He kind of sneaks through, but accidentally. We're going to see riding just over his shoulder. He sees it coming, tries to check it up, and the seas just part at the right times.
He did get some damage, though. It's not going to be a significant amount, but he just barely got lucky there. It could have been a whole lot worse with where the cars were on the track and where he was. That was just in the racing line there, really, having to avoid that.
Wayne Hutchison's going to dust the clay off of his Lucky Rabbit's foot there in the cockpit and continue on in 21st as they get double file once more. Not much has changed up at the front since the yellow has come out. Clement, Hearn, Baker, Henderson, your top four. So as the pace car comes around 3 and 4, we're going to get this restarted one more time on lap 18. Clement has been leading the way as he accelerates away. Not a very good jump at all. Richie Hearn around the outside. Says he's only done dirt on a go-kart. Certainly is taking to it quite handily out here, but he's going to have to stay in second for now. Battle for third behind them. Up on the high side, Travis Henderson way up to the wall. Comes down into the side of Barker, but they both continue.
In some tight racing as it's 4 wide a little bit farther back. Cars bouncing around in 2. But we're still going as that was very close. But some great racing up front. Brandon Chappelle, right now, along with the rest of the group, Dee Palmer we're seeing on board, just running that high line in the middle of the swarm.
And that was Brian Grandin and Jared Morgan. Morgan getting turned around. Oh, as also Dee Palmer. What's happened to Dee Palmer there?
It looks like Dee Palmer got loose on the exit, and that was what everything caused it. We'll see on the GSRC replay here in a minute.
We're watching Jared Morgan's incident.
Yeah. He got loose first there, or at least he got loose and got into it then.
And Brian Grandin just coming up wide. He saw it coming. I believe we heard Brian get on the radio saying, I was trying to get on the brakes. Brakes don't do a whole lot of good on the dirt necessarily, Bill.
Yeah, brakes are used mainly for turning here, not for trying to slow down with the dirt and clay surface. And you're seeing there D. Palmer collecting a few cars there when he got loose on the exit. Man, just some bad luck there for D. Palmer. With the dirt racing, it's about precision. And unfortunately, it was a little too precise, I guess, with trying to make sure you didn't bounce off the wall. Instead, he bounced off a whole bunch of more things.
Palmer, unfortunately, had to come in and get his spare car. A lot of racing left to go, 78 laps left. And if he gets any more damage, he's going to have to come in and get repairs instead of being able to get a completely fresh machine. They get doubled up one more time. It's going to be Clement, Hearn, Barker, Henderson, your top four.
Clement, Hearn, and Barker, all heat winners. Barnes was a heat winner. He's long gone, along with Bobrovsky.
Well, Barnes is up to 15th. He was climbing through. I was kind of watching his progress.
Well, there you go. That's how you do it.
He had a bit of a moment last time, had to catch it on the front straight. That lost him spots as Clement accelerates to the green flag. Richie Hearn having trouble seeing to the inside to get himself that jump as they all come together down into that first corner there in that group, going three wide, a little bit farther back. Ryan Worley in amongst that.
Car really off the pace. The number 2 of Worley got really loose.
They all sorted themselves out.
Sorry, let me correct that. It's Callisto that got loose in the number 2 machine.
Yeah, and it looks like you mentioned Worley. He's starting to make a little bit of a charge, making a few passes, trying to get to the top 5, battling alongside of Callisto. In fact, there's some trouble in second and third.
Yeah, that was Richie Hearn getting pushed around just a little bit by Travis Henderson. Both of them collected it up and got it straight, and Chad Barker just behind them. And this is causing a chain reaction just behind them as a number of cars are having to find space, getting opportunities, seeing if they can be aggressive, many of them backing out of it.
A real slow forming chain reaction. It took a long time, but it bounced back, went way back to mid-pack.
This has allowed Trevor Clement a gap of about a second over Richie Hearn. Caution flag is out. Is this Wayne Hutchison, maybe? Yeah, looks like Wayne Hutchison. Started a little bit ahead of him as cars getting into one another caused him to check up. He runs into the car of Lynn Kinchlow, and then Jeremy Lado, unfortunately, shoves him into the wall inadvertently.
And that is a very hard hit, too. That's going to turn his late model into a modified instead. So Hutchinson not having the best of A-mains he wants to see. I don't know if he's used his one fast repair already or not. So that could be a costly one, too. In fact, he just used it right there, and immediately it is back to a late model.
Exactly. The cars that caused the checkup that gave him that damage was Jeremy Tester and Michael Thompson. And the stewards are discussing what caused the caution. They're always trying to make sure if anything needs a penalty or if anybody needs a little bit of talking to, they check it out thoroughly.
It's always good to make sure what's going on, especially with the fact that if you cause a caution, you will be one of the drivers getting black flags in this situation. They want to make sure they get it right. You do not want to make a mistake in that kind of call if you're in the spotter stand, or the race official stand, I should say.
You know, we cover short track a lot with the Bootleg Racing League. It's a wonderful thing. We do it every Saturday night, of course. But that's on pavement where you can use up your stuff. And you want to see drivers who are out in front, they will nurse the lead. They don't want to burn up their stuff building a big lead. Not the case here on dirt, as Trevor Clement can just kind of get a gap if he wants it.
Let's see if he gets a gap this time as we go back to green. Trevor Clement getting the jump once again. That second place car typically seems to have a hard time as they bang doors. Look at Chad Barker with a power move around the outside, but he can't hold on to it. He slams into the outside wall. That causes a 3 wide, and we got a caution. Mark Herzog.
And we got more cars piling up in 3 and 4. And that is McGravy along with Kahn in the incident in 3 and 4 right after the caution.
Let's watch this initial incident. Herzog kind of getting sandwiched here. He gets turned around. Let's see if we can find who is involved in that second one there, Justin.
Like I said, it was Brian McGreevy entering 3 and 4 alongside with Nick Cohn. Both of those cars ended up going around after the caution in 3 and 4. So, as you're seeing on your GSRC replay, hey, they are coming to the corner here, and then caution's already out, and one car gets loose, and you can see that leads to the rest. Cohn goes around collecting McGreevy into that incident, so just some bad luck for him for the Lightning McQueen vehicle.
William Fletcher in the 28 also had a little piece of that one. He looks pretty clean.
Bill, that's one that they might take a little bit more positively. McGreevy.
I like that one. I do like McGreevy. I like McGravy. What they don't like is McGreedy. That's the one that they're not fond of.
Oh, you said it now.
Yeah, that's.
But how about as we come back to green, Chad Barker with that move around the outside almost worked, but he just ran out of track.
But he still, I think he got the benefit of it. He's up in second spot.
Yeah.
The yellow flag came out. I don't think it was going to be in second if the yellow flag didn't fly when it did.
Oh, no, he was in a 3-wide situation right as it flew. He got a little bit lucky, but sometimes luck is what you need in racing. As they're going to go back to green one more time. Trevor Clement still leading the way. A little bit of front-to-back bumping as he checks them up. Gets things really clogged up behind him, but everybody comes into the first corner pretty cleanly. Back around through 3 and 4. Barker still making way, trying to see what he can do into this lead. He's been looking strong most of this race. Oh, he gets a run off of 2, coming into 3, takes a little bit of look, but can't get his nose in. Behind him, he's also under threat with Brian Bennett closing in.
Back in the pack, it's 2, 3, even 4 wide sometimes. It's amazing that we have not gone yellow already again.
This is why we're watching the A-main as a pass for position with Travis Henderson going around the outside. Oh, and he took... Oh! There's a couple of turned cars into 1 and 2, and a number of more have piled into them. That's Brian Bennett involved in that.
124 of Henderson.
D. Palmer also involved in that again. Let's see what happened.
Based on what we've seen from the stewards so far tonight, I'm pretty sure Henderson is not going to get away with a pigmentless flag on that one tonight.
These guys are playing Russian roulette with a room full of fully loaded revolvers. I mean, it's gotta, something bad's gotta happen.
Well, what was that about saying it comes to luck when it comes to racing a bit? I think drivers really need to find their good luck charms and start hugging them or something right now, because this is just, I don't even know what to say.
And Henderson is, in fact, getting an EOL penalty. Interestingly, we missed Brian Bennett's chat has been disabled. I guess he was being a little too vocal during that last caution. Now, Bill, I believe it was Roger Penske who said the harder you work, the more lucky you get. Did Roger ever work in dirt?
You know what? I think Roger came up as a sports car driver. I don't see Roger and dirt as a good mix. If somebody on the YouTube chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't ever think I see Roger doing anything with dirt. Although NASCAR goes there now, and he has a team, so he has a little experience.
Yeah, could be the case. In the meantime, as we start lap 43, almost halfway through this race, the green flag flies again as Trevor Clement leads the field on another restart. Down into 1 and 2. Chad Barker just seems to find the grip off of the corner every time we look at him. He had his momentum interrupted by our leader Clement, couldn't do anything with it. Holds behind for now. All he needs is one of those bonsai runs off the bend and getting some clean air down to the inside. Doesn't do it this time.
And we got another caution as cars going around in 2. That is going to be Ernie Ludwig, I think, who went around that time around.
Look at the replay.
Now, Lovewood did have an internet issue where he lost connection of the race for a lap, putting him a few laps down. As you can, it was ahead of him.
It was Lato, I believe.
That was possibly Kinchlow or Lato.
Yeah, I saw Lato go around a full 360 and manage to continue on. And we're going to see on the replay, gets a little bit of help from behind as he was starting to turn the driver in front of him and was trying to keep from pushing him the rest of the way around. As we come back live.
It really is just. Have you ever gone to the carnival? You know, we use the car bumper cars. It really looks like that. I mean, it really looks like they're out on a grease track. I almost want to see like a little kid sitting on a dad's lap and the kid, doing the wheels and the dad pushing the button to get the car to go. You know, the ticket taker hanging off the side of the car. It's really a mess back there.
Oh, and Jeremy Lato was not only given an EOL for that incident, he was black flagged for a second incident. So second strike for Jeremy has put him under the gun. He's probably going to lose a lap for that one. Let's give you our top 10 real quick as they've extended the caution one more lap. Trevor Clement leads the way. Chad Barker has been trying desperately to get by him. He seems like he has the pace, but has not been able to successfully overtake. Josh Wolf rounds out our podium. Richie Hearn is in fourth. Lionel Callisto, how about Lionel? Up in the number 2 in 5th position. Ryan Worley is staying up, hovering around the top spots in 6th. And they're stumbling around a little bit on my timing and scoring since they crossed the line side by side. Partridge in 7th. Brandon Chappelle in 8th. William Fletcher in 9th. And Brian McGreevy in 10th as far as my timing and scoring is telling me.
And how about 10th position? We'll talk about McGreevy. Up 18 spots. 28th to 10th.
All right, Trevor Clement. Can you hold on to it one more time? 49 laps in the books as we come back to green flag racing. He gets a great jump over Chad Barker as Richie Hearn tries to power around the outside of Wolf, and I think he's going to be able to get it done. Down into 3 and 4, a bit of a checkup behind him. His car slide up into the wall to the outside. That is Brian Barnes, who's been having an atrocious night. Slips him all the way back down to 17th, and caution is out again. Oh, no, that isn't. No, now it is.
Now it is. That was chaotic as there was a few incidents, and oh my goodness, Ray Partridge runs into one of the cars going to the pits.
Yeah, who do you choose to put the camera on? The 60 was involved. Lovelady did a pirouette out there.
I think it started with Lovelady. And we're looking on the replay. You can see Lovelady gets tipped by his teammate, Brian Grandin, turns him around. That sends him up to the outside. That collects the car of Wayne Hutchison.
Hutchinson just T-boned him. He had nowhere to go. Wayne had nowhere to go, but smack. Watch this. Boink.
Wow, that car appeared out of nowhere. We talk a lot about the disadvantages of the single screen, but that's one that we haven't really brought up there, Bill. It's not just where the cars are in relation to you, but if something's coming from the side like a spinning car like that, you have a lot less time to react.
Oh, I don't need any screens for that one because I'm closing my eyes before that happens. So,
well, that explains a lot about your driving, Bill.
Yeah.
Okay, remind me not to go on a road trip with you if that's how you drive.
Well, I'm sure Bill's plenty safe in real life, right, Bill?
I'll get you there.
just don't let him roll up the windows if it's snowing.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah, we'll get to that story eventually. So
okay.
Trevor Clement still is leading the way. He's been doing a great job with these restarts, Bill.
Yeah, Bobrovsky back inside the top 10 now. I guess Clement's probably happy. I guess if it keeps going the way it's going, Joe. Here we go.
All right, can we get at least 10 green flag laps, guys? Let's go. Trevor Clement with not as much of a jump. That's going to check everybody up behind him, making a 3-wide situation. A little bit of banging, beating and banging as Ryan Worley has to back out. Pass to the inside, down for the lead, way sideways, so Chad Barker watches his entry. He loses out, and Richie Hearn's going to slip by. Josh Wolf is going to go by, trying to go around the outside of Chad Barker. Ray Partridge,
still struggling.
Worley. Ruining that mistake. Oh, and he's getting into the side by side. Yellow flag comes out before they could turn around.
Yeah.
Must have been someone else's incident. Rob Gall.
Rob Gall was stuck in the wall almost out of turn one, entering turn one. You're seeing everyone having to avoid him there. Man, that was almost a very risky one. Let's see what happened with Gall here on the GSRC replay.
That was Jeremy Tester, it looks like.
Yeah, he got turned into the wall, stayed on the wall the whole way down. A few cars bumped off of him, or almost did. Then he got stuck there and stayed there and brought out the caution, really.
Yeah, it looks like, I think that was a glitch there, it looks like. His wheel went through the wall. That happens sometimes in iRacing. And as you said, stuck there. And he's trying to work his way back around to the field very slowly. No, he's going to come in. If he can get the car turned in, there we go. Nope, not quite. Has to put it in reverse. There's the 31. He's not going to make it again. Poor Rob Gall. I'm sorry, Rob, for laughing.
Oh, my.
I'm sorry, Rob. That was pretty amusing to watch, you have to admit.
And, Joe, you were calling the action up front where poor Chad Barker just was going the wrong direction in the 51 machine. He was racing for the lead. He had a piece of the lead for a while, and then, try as he might, he couldn't get the car pointed in the right direction and was always crooked one way or the other. He ends up back in 8th spot.
That shows you how important momentum is in these cars. Just got swallowed left and right. That's going to promote Richie Hearn up to the outside. He's been there before so far in this race. All right, what can Richie Hearn do? Trevor Clement takes the green. As they come down into 1 and 2. Lionel Kalisto up on the high side. He's back to the front. He holds off Josh Wolf, who gets a bad exit out of 2. Ray Partridge trying to fend off Ryan Worley. Partridge all the way up to the wall, and he's in the wall.
Spot. There they go.
That could have been trouble. Thankfully, he's able to still keep it going, and no one was bottled up from Partridge hitting that wall there. Barker still sliding on back, having a hard time getting to grip, very close to clipping Chappelle.
Up and another one around.
That is William Fletcher.
And he's almost rolled over.
A few more drivers starting to lose their tempers over the radio. I think Fletcher got turned around from what I'm seeing. That was the car to the inside, Travis Henderson.
Yep.
Oh no. And Henderson, that's going to be his second incident, I believe. Remember, he got an EOL before for sending a slide job that was unsuccessful into turn 1.
Well, try to do a little defense for Travis. Maybe he was just racing this line and Fletcher came down on him. I don't know.
Yeah, he just slid up into him. It looks like just...
Oh, they're calling no EOL needed. Interesting.
Personally, I want to see what Jeremy Tester saw of that too, to be honest, because it looks like he stopped. It looks like he just was coming out of the pits and seen that happen as it was coming out. So I'm not sure. Or I want to see, yeah, because go to the cockpit view. Like rolling out of the pits here, racing's going on. Gets to the cones. Caution flag is starting to come out as the chaos happens right in front of him. Yeah, he got a nice, beautiful view in the movie theater as 1 to green.
And so I'm guessing,
a good call.
I'm guessing the call on the penalty is they think that William Fletcher maybe turned down in on the 124, and maybe that's what their call is about.
I like it when the race stewards and the commentators see it the same.
All right, they're doubled up. We're going to go green one more time. Let's try this again, boys, as Trevor Clement gets the green flag, takes off. Lionel Kalisto gets a jump on Richie Hearn as he goes to the low side. Can't get the speed into the corner. Hearn using that speed, that momentum to swing it up high and keep his second place. A little bit of bumping and banging farther back in 6th.
Yeah, some aggressive driving we're seeing there, but some also good driving. Barker losing a bit of control on the front stretch a bit, and one car just got punted into the wall. Caution flag.
Deep Homer involved in that.
And that was Lovelady who got bumped. No caution yet, and we still have cars trying to turn around as the leaders are coming around.
Now
oh my goodness,
it.
this is the wrong spot.
Did Richie Hearn? We're going to watch it in a moment. This is the replay of the incident. I think Richie Hearn maybe got into... Yeah, there you can see cars just all over, and iRacing didn't throw the caution. That was the stewards who had to do it manually. I think Richie Hearn just barely missed Thomas Lovelady.
Yeah, I think with Lovelady, that might have brought it out with the iRacing caution because he was nearly stopped there right in the middle of the racing groove. That could have been disaster because if he was like 2 inches to the right, we wouldn't, I don't even know how to even phrase it with what's going on. Let's just say the leaders were very lucky there.
Absolutely. Bill, with all this chaos, with all these cautions, I am seeing roughly 21 or so cars, 22 cars still running.
Yeah, that's we're losing them little by little. We'd lose them twice as fast if there wasn't a fast repair. A couple drivers to talk about here that are really impressive. Ryan Worley in the what's he racing? The 040 machine. Man, he is up to 5th. He is fast, and also he's back. Brian Barnes in 10th.
It's becoming like a battle of attrition because we got 15 cars left on the lead lap right now after everything so far, with still 30 laps to go once we go green. So, Mark Herzog, though, will get the EOL for that caution.
Well,
Richie,
Bill,
go ahead.
from what we saw with Brian Barnes' car, and you mentioned the attrition, the tagline for the posters of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was, who will survive and what will be left of them? That feels a little apropos here.
It is. What Richie Hearn needs to do is do the old look. Trevor Clement, hey, look, the Goodyear blip, and see if he can get a jump because Clement is awesome on these restarts. And there he goes again.
He didn't get to do that this time. Clement gets the jump on Richie Hearn. Richie Hearn, though, with a good run into turn 1 and 2, going to keep Joshua Wolf behind him. Lionel Kalisto washes up the track, but thankfully doesn't lose anything. A little banging into the wall from Ray Partridge, who again swings up wide. And more cars being turned around. Travis Henderson.
They're all going
once
straight.
again.
And more trouble on the front stretch on top of that. Ouch. So 2 different incidents. Oh my goodness.
All right, first incident was back in the back of the pack, and I believe that was Nick Kuhn. He gets into, I believe that's the popsicle machine, and gets turned around, banged around like a pinball. And there you can see on the front stretch, all the incidents happening. Was the one that I was calling at the time it was live. Brian McGreevy, unfortunately, that Lightning McQueen car is not looking as shiny now.
Well, Doc
Chad
Hudson...
Barker was involved.
Yeah, wow. Just...
Let's watch on board with Brian Bennett here.
Yeah, Bennett just... Wow, just had nowhere really to go, and then all of a sudden he sees more chaos in front of him and smashes Lightning McQueen's nose in. Still having to dodge a couple other cars like Travis Henderson there, so... Man, just... I'm speechless with how this race is going, really.
It's been a lot of chaos, that's for sure, but we are now 3/4 of the way through this 100-lap race. I'd be curious to see the green flag to yellow flag lap ratio, Bill.
I think the yellow flags are winning.
I'd agree on that. I'm not sure, does your Joel Real Timing have those stats for you?
It does not.
Ah, such a shame. Mark Herzog was given an EOL on this one, I believe, if I'm reading right, unless that's an old message.
That is an old message, I believe, and we are already in double digits for cautions as we're getting underway again.
Brian Barnes, the popsicle car, still in 8th. Go ahead, Joe.
Is out. Yeah, Brian Barnes is not giving up. Just trying to keep that one up there as a few of them bang together. We get a car turned around immediately. That stays green, though. Oh, there it goes. McGreevy involved again. William Fletcher, I think, was involved in that. Yeah, Fletcher was the first to get turned around by, I believe that was McGreevy.
Yeah,
no, yes, Brian McGreevy and then Jared Morgan involved.
Yeah, McGreevy got the worst of it, really, I think, because he went all the way around, and just coming off that damage from before, from caution number 13, this is now the 14th caution already of this run. And to add insult to injury, McGreevy is getting an EOL penalty for that.
I wonder if these drivers, I wonder if it changes their whole perspective to racing, where they think they have to make the pass in the first 15 seconds before the yellow comes out. Pick up a couple spots, wait for the yellow, pick up a couple spots.
Cautions breed cautions, especially when you have the attitude like Bill mentioned.
Somebody needs to practice some birth control, because this is just really getting out of hand.
Okay. Let's not touch that as we come to 1 to green.
Oh, and Brian McGreevy's stationary on track. His car's very damaged. He should take a tow if he can't go any further. What is number 68 doing? Letting the field by, maybe?
He did get the EOL, so possibly...
Lionel Kalisto was given one as well.
No, he had his black flags officially cleared, so it was just a small error from the racing tower.
Yeah.
Here we go, boys. This is going to be it. We're going green from here. 22 laps.
I love your optimism, Bill.
As my partner Sean Ambrose would say, it's time to boogie.
Getting into the dying stages.
And Clark Archer just got a ELL penalty as well.
A number of our front runners really struggling once they get into the mid-pack. Chad Barker is still in 9th. He hasn't been able to claw his way forward.
Yeah, all he's done is go backward, basically. He's lucky to still be in 9th, I think, because he's been having a hard time getting the car to grip on the proper line as we're coming to green this time by.
Trevor Clement going to take them on the restarts. Richie Hearn has still been holding on to that second place. Remember, Hearn still yet to win a race here in the Pacific Majors. Can he get it? His first one here on dirt. He's holding on to our leader in the back. Drivers sorting themselves out, still 2 and 3 wide, trying to find lines around this now worn out track. Getting single file now, a bunch of the drivers up at the front. Hearn keeping Clement within check, staying within 2/10. We're starting to see the track change, a little bit of a rubbered in line forming down low. If we get some green flag laps, that's going to change it even quicker. And cars will be changing position as they have setups adjusted to different types of racing.
And I think this is the right time. We got some more trouble, though, in
That's
2.
Wolf. Oh, and a caution. Trying to see who that was with. I don't see any cars slow. I'm not sure who that was for. Did you catch it, Bill?
I did not. Everyone seems to be going the right direction for me.
I was seeing it develop, to be honest, and I believe it had something involving Nick Cohen again.
Yep, Nick Kuhn and Brian Bennett, it looks like. He got tipped up into Kuhn, Bennett did. Got turned around and he immediately kept going. But by that time, the yellow flag had already flew. At the same time, what I was reacting to was Josh Wolf in 3rd place had put a wallop on the outside of turn 2.
Brian.
Watch the replay of the big bad wolf huffing and puffing, but the wall does not fall down.
Yeah, he just went too fast through the corner, really, and that's what led to him going to the wall, into the wall, because it's like I mentioned before, it's about the balance of throttle control and brake control. If you don't have enough brake, you'll end up sailing into that wall just like that. And Wolf, while still in 3rd place, did pay the price for it a little bit.
It's hard to tell much of a race story with all the yellows out here, but Ryan Worley now Worley up into 4th. Ray Partridge, we did the interview with him, sitting in 5th. Callisto up to 6th. Brian Barnes continues. He's up to 8th. Watch that popsicle machine in number 4. Go ahead, Joe.
As we get back to green once again, the story looking a little bit more like Ulysses, unfortunately. Trevor Clement leading the way. Richie Hearn slips into second once again. Wolf trying to hold on to that third. He's got Worley trying to see what he can do as he slams the wall. That loses his momentum. 3 wide as he pinches down on the car of Lionel Callisto. Oh, and a car gets turned. Ryan Barnes is one of them. It's an Elite West car backwards on the track.
And they're piling up in 1 and 2 after that, too. Herzog involved.
It all started... Go ahead, Justin.
And Burns got pinballed again. Let's take a look at the GSRC replay from that because that ended up snowballing after the spin.
All started with the 44 of Brandon Chappelle.
Yeah, got into Barker on the outside, then that tipped him around. Brian Barnes slid down the inside of the track. And who was that ran into him? That's William Fletcher.
Looks like Travis Henderson also went through him as well.
Just a comedy of errors up in front of him. We're going to watch it from Brian McGreevy's point of view. You can... Wow, actually, McGreevy did a good job with that.
Really good job. I think the damage kind of helped him dodge that because it's going to affect his speed a bit, but in that case, like I said, it helped him because if he was going in full speed, he would have not been able to slow down in time for that. He was lucky to be able to hit the brakes and keep it stabilized on that to avoid the wreck in front of him.
Well, good news is, Bill, you mentioned the bootleg series where a lot of times they have to watch out about the point of no return where a caution flag will end the race. They're much shorter here on the dirt side, only usually being 2 caution laps, so that window is much smaller.
If this race finishes under green, I'm buying all the drivers tacos because this is where...
Can I get down in the car right now?
Yeah, go ahead, jump online because I'm sure...
I want tacos.
You're going to have plenty of time to call the winner this time, Joe, because this is the speed it's going to be when they come to take the checkered. All right, here we go.
We'll find out soon as the pace car peels off one more time. Trevor Clement takes the green. Richie Hearn checks him up behind him just a little bit, though, as Joshua Wolf tries to hold on to the inside with Callisto, swinging his momentum high. Stays off the wall, and he could make this successful. Caution is out again. Wayne Hutchison involved in that one.
I honestly think Hearns actually has something for Clement if he could just get a chance to do it.
Solo car, boy, how rare is that out here today? Wayne Hutchinson turned around by a car hitting him from the rear. That's the 71. Who is that? That's Brian Bennett. And Bennett's already gotten an EOL penalty once. This could be a black flag for him. Bennett's already 7 laps down, too. That's going to be hard for him to make a case to be causing that one.
Flagman's going to need some mineral ice because, my gosh, all he's been doing is waving the thing the entire race.
I was going to say an ice pack for his arm, maybe?
Yeah.
And Brian Bennett did get black flag there, in fact, on top of the EOL for that, so being 7 laps down is going to get even worse. Meanwhile, Mark Herzog did take advantage of that one faster pair. It is the time that you do not want to have a damaged car and want to make a run for the lead because when we restart, we're going to have 4 laps to go.
And Herzog is our last car on the lead lap. Only 13 of them still up there leading the way. But we do have roughly 24 laps, or 24 cars left on track. This should be the point of no return, I'm pretty sure. If they get another caution, that is going to end it.
Trying to get it organized up.
3 and 4. Pace truck, which I may have mistakenly called the pace car for many a time tonight. My apologies if I have. Trevor Clement leads the way. He's going to hope for another caution. He's been leading most of tonight. Richie Hearn wants them to get green so that he can make a run for this first win of his career here in the Pacific Majors. Oh, we got cars turned. This could end it. Oh, and that's Chad Barker gets involved, and a number of cars involved. Fletcher gets turned over and over.
No tacos for anybody.
You're going to see this. I don't even know how to call this one as cars literally just were piling into this mess.
Well, first off, they're probably not thinking about tacos. They're thinking, are you kidding me with how that finished up? But second, I think it was just the car got a little bit squirrely, ended up getting turned a bit. You can see we're watching aboard Chad Barker as Barker, watching as the 65 got clipped. He bumped into the 65, and Barker, who had been just barely holding on to the top 10 really all day, bumped around like a pinball right in the final stages of this race.
All right, as the pace truck comes around, we're going to get the white flag this time by, which means it is over. Trevor Clement is your winner. If he makes it to the flag, of course, I'm pretty sure he has enough fuel in that machine. It's not like they were worried about that today. That Alliance machine, boy, talk about Alliance. We haven't talked about Alliance actually, really, but the Alliance is one of the great teams that has, they dominated the podium, actually filled it out at Indianapolis. The number 111 today is going to take yet another Richie Hearn behind him for Elite West. In second, Lionel Callisto in third. Nice podium for those guys.
All right, get fired up, Joe. Here you go.
All right. After 100 laps here around Eldora, Trevor Clement comes across to the line. The number 111 is going to win here for the first ever dirt race in the Pacific Majors.
Fireworks.
Well, they've had some time to clear now, Bill.
Yes. There we go.
Richie has got to be asking himself at this point, Bill. He's a front runner, race
Never
after
had a
race
chance.
in this series. Yeah, what has he got to do to get a win in the Pac Majors? He's always fast, and in both road and oval, and now we've seen even on the dirt. What can the former IndyCar driver do to finally overtake for P1? But today, it all belongs to Trevor Clement, who's going to take the win. We're going to take a break ourselves. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews. And on screen, we're going to have all the upcoming races here on the Global Sim Racing channel.
All the moms think he's cute. He's not. All the dads wish he was their son. Sorry, Pops. Everybody else, they just want to see him blow stuff up. Satisfaction? Guaranteed.
Name's Tux, Agent Tux, and the pleasure, I'm sure, will be all yours.
Agent Tux is the world's most extravagant secret agent, and also its most mini. Become an insider today by subscribing to Agent Tux on YouTube and liking him on Facebook.
Fuel usage.
Averaging 0.10 gallons per lap.
Pit stop, add 5 gallons. Change right side only.
Hitbox in 10, 9, 8, 1. Bingo. 10-4, adding 5 gallons. Changing right side tires.
Welcome back to Eldora one more time. We're here for the post-race show for round 9 of the Pacific Majors. The Dirt Late Model Dream presented by Agent Tux. In the end, Trevor Clement won what was a caution-filled race. He finished ahead of Richie Hearn, who led Lionel Callisto to round out the podium. Ryan Worley proves that he's good on the dirt as well, finishing 4th. Josh Wolf coming home in the top 5. Ray Partridge finishes 6th. That's going to meet his goal, with Chad Barker coming home with a 7th. Trevor Vavrovsky finishes in 8th after having to climb his way back through the field from early problems. Brian Barnes comes home 9th with a very damaged car, and Brandon Chappelle rounds out our top 10, Bill.
In 11th position, it is Nick Kuhn. Followed by 12th position, it's going to be Mark Herzog from 26th to 12th, up 14 spots. That's a hard charge, but not the hardest of charges, as that's going to go to the next rider. Brian McGreevy, 28th to 13th, up 15 spots, 1 lap down. Jeremy Lieto in the 14th spot. Wayne Hutchinson, William Fletcher, Travis Henderson, Jared Morgan, Jeremy Testar, and the 20th spot goes to Ernie Ludwig. Justin?
And Lynn Kinchlow finishing 21st, 8 laps down. Brian Bennett having a rough one as well. He comes away 22nd, 12 laps down. D. Palmer bounced around like a pinball at times with 23rd. Rob Gall, 24th position. Thomas Lovelady, who was the winner of the Snowball Derby earlier this season, had a very bad luck. A main 35 laps down in 25th. Brian Graydon finishing 26th. Clark Archer, 27th. And in 28th, with a fast repair not being able to fix a missing wheel, Michael Thompson.
And with that, we have our winner waiting for an interview. Trevor Clement led the field with lots of cautions and lots of restarts to practice, as the Alliance driver has brought home max points today. Trevor, congrats on being the first winner of the first dirt race here in the Pacific Majors, and congrats on your first win of this season.
Thanks, guys.
Talk to us a little bit about the action happening out there. It was mostly behind you for much of the way. I have to feel that maybe that was a bit of a relief that you were up in the lead.
Yeah, I mean, most of the action for me was early on. Borowski at the beginning. I knew that this race was going to have a lot of cautions. I mean, I think everybody knew that going in. I didn't know it'd be this many. So when Borowski kind of got a little loose early on, and when I got by him and the first caution came up, I was pretty happy.
You only had a couple real, yeah, I can imagine so. You had only a couple real threats there throughout the race. I believe one was from Chad Barker, and then as well, Richie Hearn had a real go at you. Did you ever feel like you could maybe lose it, or did you feel pretty much in control once you were up at the top?
Well, I felt in control, but I was looking forward to, getting some good racing with those guys, and it never really happened, unfortunately. I think if we get, at least a 10 or 12 lap green flag run, it really could have went any direction, especially when Richie was behind me there at the last, 25 laps. And the track was getting to that point where it gets exciting because there was a lower dry groove and a little higher one. So there are a couple ways you could go. But, I guess fortunately for me, never really got a legit chance to run.
Yeah, it seemed like every time it was interrupted. Now, if you had your choice, would you want to see this combo return? Would you want a different dirt combo? Or would you say, let's get rid of dirt here in the Pac Majors?
I would love to see this come back. This is actually an event I was looking forward to from the beginning. I just hope that, when it comes back, or if it comes back, we go to maybe an 8-car main. And I think we could have had some real exciting driving. Just, 28 cars on this track is really tough, So that's, what led to that.
Especially with the mix of experience that you have in the Pacific Majors. Again, congratulations, Trevor, on the win. We look forward to seeing you next round.
Thanks, guys.
That was our winner today in the 111. Bill is going to be talking to Richie Hearn, who managed to get himself into second today.
Richie, it was right there, but the racing gods wouldn't let you race.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, it's too bad because it would have been a lot of fun if we could have got a rhythm, and I think my gear was a little too long for those starts, so I couldn't get a good jump, and I honestly thought at the end I was a little bit faster than him as the track dried out. Just not enough running to find a place to go, and then near the end, I'm just worried about those guys behind me at some point.
Yeah, just trying to salvage what you had. Trevor just came in and made an interesting comment. He said, this was a lot of fun. Maybe we want to consider maybe making the main a little less cars out there. That could maybe help out the racing a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, that would help. I think it's just really tough, and I think some just a little bit better racing etiquette too would help. Maybe lower it down to like 20 cars, and I don't know. Who knows? Maybe a little more practice.
Yep, you were so close, so close. I thought you were actually faster than, but you never got a chance. Hey, good luck. That win's coming later on. We still got time before the season's over.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for covering it, guys. I'm going to miss the next one, but I'll see you guys the one after that.
All right, good luck to you. Richie Hearn, second place finisher today. Joe?
We also have the bottom step of the podium, Lionel Colisto, who's been making a bit of a championship run this season, and this is certainly going to help Lionel. Justin is going to ask the number 2 about his race.
Yes, Lionel, you came away with a third position finish. It was pretty quiet with a lot of the incidents going on. 18 cautions, I believe it was, for tonight's race. How do you feel about finishing in the top 3?
Oh, I'm very happy to finish the top 3, especially with the damaged race car. I'm very happy with Trevor winning the race. He did a lot of help with he actually did the setup, and he did a really good job on it, and he definitely helped me out. Just trying to avoid all the wrecks that happened. It's just too bad that I didn't see any long runs to try to get a rhythm, it had a lot of potential to be a fun race, but happy with the third place finish.
Yeah, even with as we're seeing on the interview replay, you had at one point gone around and still came away with a third place finish. How did you basically try and keep focus with everything going on? Because as you said, it was about avoiding the wrecks, but how do you keep yourself calm and focused in that situation when it was hard to get green flag runs in tonight's event?
It was pretty tough. It's just like after the starts. Trevor's helping me with the starts. He was telling me when he's going to go, when he's not going to go, which that really helped me with the passing. But getting in the field, the car at the start, I don't know how the car's going to slide because we've been so many cautions, so it's hard to get a rhythm. So, I got pretty lucky, honestly, with the third place finish.
Yeah, I have to kind of agree with you there, but it was still a good finish nevertheless, especially point-wise. You came into tonight's race second in the points behind Blake Reynolds. Blake Reynolds did not participate, and you were 27 points behind, so there is a good chance you may be able to overtake him here as we're heading into Watkins Glen next week. What are your thoughts heading into Watkins Glen with the Cup cars after what was some pretty fun driving in the mud, or clay, I should say, here at Eldora?
Yeah, dirt was fun. It was the first time doing it, first race. Had a lot of potential. Blake's going to come out strong next race, and plus it's Watkins Glen and then Gen 6 car, which he's really good at since he's a pro too. He's definitely going to come out strong. Hopefully I can keep up with him. I know he's really fast there, and try to get a better finish than him. Basically the goal.
And you did get a better finish tonight, at least, because Reynolds did not participate. But now Reynolds, you're going to have to compete against at Watkins Glen. Congratulations, though, on the top 3 finish. Lionel Colisto finishing in third position. You enjoy your night, sir.
Thank you, guys.
With that, that's our podium. So we are going to close up here today after a long race. And of course, we want to thank our sponsor for this race, Agent Tux, and to Mike Willett for organizing everything for the Pacific Majors. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde who provide our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of their great work. Thanks to the team today. I'm Jed, Bill, Sean, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com, or you can check out our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel or Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel. The next race, that'll be Watkins Glen and the NASCAR Cup Cars. That'll be Sunday, August 6th at 7:45 p.m. Eastern. That's going to be a fun one to watch. Those big, heavy machines on road courses is always a treat. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. However, until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.